right, here we are, and it is 9 o'clock, so we kind of sort of timed it pretty good. And we say hello to everybody on the panel. We got a good group of guys with us tonight, our regular folks. We got Gustavo and Terry and Randall and David and Chuck and Roy is doing his like magic act tonight, where sometimes he's here and sometimes he's not, and sometimes he's upside down, and sometimes we don't know where Roy is right now. He's going to be in that new Interstellar movie Part 2, I think. but anyway, we welcome everybody to the April 4th image review, and I want to just first off wish everybody, ahead of time, a happy Easter, and hope everybody has some time to spend with family and friends, and that you kind of take that day to remember what's important in the world and kind of like relax a little bit and take a deep breath and try to have a good day. We've got a wonderful amount of images that were sent in. We got actually 95 images for tonight's show, which is at the higher end of what we normally get. And so thank you to everybody that, sent in images to share with us. And we encourage others to consider doing so in the future. If, like I said, this is a no shame of review of images. We do not critique unless requested. And we just want basically to get people motivated to go out and shoot by what they see from everybody else, and to learn something from everybody else's images and ask questions if they want to ask questions, and then be able to improve their photography or potentially try something different that they haven't done before or don't do that often. And that's kind of like the whole goal of doing this. We each get to share each other's progress as we grow in photography and as we try different things, or as we get a different lens and see the world with a little different viewpoint with that new lens that we just got, or what have you. So we encourage everybody to don't be nervous to share anything that you take, because we just want to have a good time and let everybody have some fun and show us where you're at in your progress. So we're going to go through, let everybody in the panel say hello. We'll go clockwise. We'll go over to Gustavo first, and then afterwards we'll say hi to everybody in the chat. So we'll start with Gustavo.
Not much yet, and spring is just started to arrive here around Denver. So we start seeing activities in my area. So hopefully you will see some photos that I took recently, but the usual set of characters. But I always looking forward to get reacquaintance with my friends. So you will see that. That's it from me. Terry,
tell everybody where you're going for those that don't know.
Well, first of all, I'm from the future. All right, we are still back there. Yeah, I'm packing up. I have just finished packing up and ready to go Kasane in Botswana. We fly through Perth and Johannesburg, avoid the Doha, as it was the first the first try. Yeah, I hope I'll have plenty of photographs coming back, or at least a few good ones.
I'm sure you're going to have a lot more than a few good ones.
I hope so too. Randall.
I had a neat thing happened yesterday. I filmed a crew that removed an Arizona ash, and they had a neat remote control that just shredded that stump like nothing flat, and watched them replant a redbud tree. And then I found out that my neighbors that live at the house were in Houston. So I just filmed the whole thing. And the Z8 with the 24-70 and the 70 and 180 did a fantastic job. the version 2. So I just want to shout out about that. So.
David, we'll let you, I was going to talk about it, but I'll let you bring it up, and I'll put up a little link to your, what you asked me to do with the Canadian Photography Conference. So I'll let you talk about that for a minute if you want, and I'll put up a caption where people can go in and make note of the path to get to the link and look up the information. But why don't you talk about that for a minute, and anything else you want to talk about?
Well, the Canadian Photography Conference is going to be held in Calgary this year, and it's the week right after Stampede. So if you come a couple of days early, you can get to catch the end of the Stampede and then go into the photography conference. It's I don't belong to any of the groups directly that's sponsoring this. Is the group I belong to in Vancouver. We're a member, but I'm not directly. But it's be nice if you see some of the photographers here come to Calgary, and I can show them around, and we can do some extra things other than what's on the curriculum. But I was out today with my 180 to 600, and I was checking on the bald eagle's nest, and I can get within 400 meters of it. It's a little bit wet if I want to get any closer, like it's a river. And we have an eagle sitting on the nest already. I don't know if that's early or not, but it gives me something to look forward to. So next time I'll go out, I'll have to take my 800 and my 2 times, because I was only a meter short in focal length today. Other than that, I'm not doing much. And over to you, Chuck.
Oh, let's see. Well, very nice that Matt wanted to say hi to me, and that was pretty nice. I guess the weathers are heating up, so everybody's going to be cutting the grass. That's coming real soon. And other than that, we'll hand it to Roy.
I'm just struggling with my webcam died and just bunged the camera on. Can't find any controls for anything. But I'll be all right. I'll get there. Beats me for not being prepared.
Chuck's going to have to just fly down there and take care of you, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, when you lean forward, you're in focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in focus there. Not now.
And Roy, I will have some question for you on maintaining your batteries. I know that you do that regularly, because I was
Yes.
I was trying to get my D100, D200, D300 to check that they were all functioning, but of course the batteries were all dead, and of course when I tried to recharge them, they didn't recharge. So I finally got some of them recharged, and all the cameras seem to be working, but I know you have a schedule, so we can discuss that after the review.
Well, when I've used a battery and it's dead, I put it at the back of the line and charge it, bung it there, and I just take the fresh one from the front.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but because they didn't want to, it was giving a little bit of a blinky, the blinky,
If
and
they're too flat, they don't like being charged.
exactly. So they stopped.
The way you get around that is you jump charge them. Put another battery against the same pins,
Okay.
essentially, and you can charge them that way. It just as long as you get started to charge, then you can charge it properly.
Okay.
One thing is to use the proper name brand chargers, because if you use the third party ones, they're only using 2 pins to charge with. There's no monitoring of the battery at all.
Okay.
But sometimes they'll charge a battery that the genuine ones won't.
What it turned out to be for me, Roy, is that I noticed in one of them that if you put it on and give you a blink and stop charging, I will put it on again a couple of hours, and eventually they start charging. Correct. So
once they've got a little bit of charge in them, the charger will like them.
Exactly.
I thought you had a video clip where you're hovering over the battery with a couple paddles and you're going clear. You know,
Far off. I used a couple of wires and plug them into it from another battery. It's pretty much that anyway.
yeah.
If you've got a really good battery.
So out of all the batteries that I have, correct?
Careful with polarization. Huh?
Yes.
Mm.
It's a
Yes.
pin to pin, the same pin.
Same pin. Yeah.
They should sell you a device that you can do that, correct? Like you connect the two batteries, because it happened to all the rechargeable eventually. I mean, even the the ones that you use for your drill and everything, correct? And the batteries are expensive, but
They've got protection to stop you charging them once they go below 10%.
exactly. Yeah. Only one of all the, I think it was ENL 13 or one of the older ones.
15s, the small ones.
No,
No, 15 are new ones.
the 15 is the new one. The 13, the one for the
Oh, okay.
one of those was I couldn't make it to revive, but all the ones eventually took charge. So I'm happy. I can function my camera.
You know, you gotta get in there and
Exactly.
Did you make mouth to mouth?
I don't do it. I won't do it.
They're not going to get charged from me, that's for sure.
You get that tingle on your tongue, it ain't good.
What
Let's
camera
say
you
hi
use?
to everybody in the chat here. We got Robert Rosado's here. Hello to him. Glad he popped in. And Robert, you're always here to fill in the body count. That's a good thing as well. Bob, our photos is here, and Bob, as usual, you're going to be able to go to bed early tonight because of where you are in the stream of things with showing the pictures. And let's see. So hopefully we get some more people in here. We're only at 10. So do we want to talk about a few other things and wait a minute before we start? What do you guys want to do?
Yes. Terry was asking a question. Terry, you were asking a question on this battery?
Yeah, the moment, sorry, which camera you use the 13? The batteries,
I think three
500?
cameras, the D100, the D200, and I think the D7000,
Yeah.
7000, I think.
Old stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
EL14 for the old big Nikons.
Yeah, they started with the 15 series, I think, with the D300, if I'm correct. But all the cameras seem to be working. So I may try to do at one point, take the same subject and photograph it with one camera, the next one, the same lens, go through the progression to see how much we have progressed.
Well, maybe what we'll do here is just because we do have a lot of pictures to go through, but I'd like to get a few more people in here before we start. I'll talk about some of the rumor stuff first for a few minutes, and if we get that, it doesn't matter what order we do things in, we'll see when we have about 15 or more people in here, and then we'll switch over to the photos.
Charger.
I was trying to show that they only use 2 pins, whereas the genuine Nikon ones use more, because I check the temperature and how flat it is and many other things.
Yeah, I was charging only with the only one that gave me, sorry, Jeff, the only one that gave me trouble was actually the battery for the D850, which is also 18, correct? So, but when I put that one on the on the new battery charger, correct, it doesn't charge. Because I say, hey, this should charge like any 18. So I put it on the same one for the C9, and it blinks.
Yes, it doesn't work.
It doesn't.
You had to use the old charger.
I had to use the charger.
Did you press the red button?
Yeah, I did.
To recalculate?
No, it doesn't. That charger, the new charger for the C9, and the rechargeable. Remember that has
Yeah.
a USB type of connection so that you can charge directly into the camera. That one doesn't like the old ENL 18. So I took I never got the original charger for the battery. I have a third party charger, but that one worked. Correct? Because those chargers were very expensive at the time.
Yeah.
So they,
Still are.
yeah. So anyway, you learn things, correct?
Yeah.
But
We'll
but
do
it's really working. So let's go to the rumors, Jeff.
Yeah, we'll do the Nikon ones anyway, and then the few that there are for the other companies we'll do later on if we have time. But for Nikon, there wasn't really a ton of stuff. I mean, they are selling that Mark Roberts motion control company that they bought years ago. They concluded a deal to sell it to a UK-based investment firm. So Nikon just put out a press release that basically said that they've reconsidered their business portfolio, and as a result, they concluded that transferring all its shares in MRMC to what is being called MRMC Bidco Limited is the most appropriate course of action, and has entered into an agreement to do so. That was the camera motion control systems and stuff that they were showing, like they were using it for like Major League Baseball games and things like that. I don't know why they're just moving money around, I guess, a little bit.
Nikon have a new CEO.
I
Did you
don't
hear?
know.
Yeah, it was in Nikon rumors.
Okay.
No, it's not on the rumors. It was on a report.
And, Matt Irwin talked about him on Wednesday in Australia. So.
And did he make any commentary as to if this person's going to be shaking things up or anything?
Well, but there was a little bit of a discussion about it and whether or not they do this on a regular basis, like they could get the position for so long or whatever, but there's nothing that came of it, so it'll be interesting to find out what happens.
The good thing is that the new guy is obviously this being a Japanese company, all they come through the Japan. They don't switch from company, correct? So they come through their Nikon
internal growth.
Internal growth.
Yeah.
But the guy came to, I think, has a degree in physics and particularly in optics. So he was he's one that used to at the beginning of his career design lenses and all that kind of stuff. So he's not a bean counter, correct?
Not a bean counter. Good.
I hate when the company put CEOs that are bean counters.
Reportedly, he said that his target there is a faster development and providing the cameras to the people faster than before.
Yes.
And some others too. Yeah.
Now, I know that some of you guys on the panel, at least one that I know of, maybe more than one, have bought the new 70-200 f2.8 VR S version 2. Nikon Rumors does have they're sharing an interview that was done by Photo Trend when CP Plus was going on. It's not a very long interview. There's not really a ton of information in there, but there's a little back and forth where the Photo Trend talked with some of the Nikon engineers that were in various engineering disciplines and talked about their approach in terms of what they were looking to do with that lens. So some of you may find interest in reading that article, and that is on Nikon Rumors website. And as was discussed prior to us going live, was you have new firmware for the ZF version 3.01, and it changes the way the aperture was adjusted on a lens when the standby timer expired, and they fixed an issue where the iMenu touch control would sometimes not be available in the prioritized viewfinder choice number 1 and prioritize viewfinder choice number 2 monitor modes. And I'm sure, you know, a whopping 5 people probably had something weird happen, but they take care of it anyway. So I give them credit for that. And the Z9 is now version 5.32 got updated. Same thing, changed the way the aperture was adjusted on a lens when the standby timer expired, and fixed an issue where the camera would sometimes stop responding if a picture was zoomed in. At the same time, you're doing filtered playback while FTP upload was in process. So you have to have all these strange combinations of things that probably very few people ever do to have something go wrong. But once again, they did take care of it. And then there was like a comment about these firmware updates where it said Viltrox issued a warning not to update any third-party lenses with the Nikon firmware with their lenses on the camera. Basically, if you're going to update your firmware on your camera, make sure you have a original Nikon lens on your camera.
Or no lens.
Yeah.
By the way, talking about the 70 to 200, I'm going to mention something here. On the last show, correct? We talk a lot about the foot of the Arca Swiss foot of that lens, correct? There was a discussion and from Randall and David contributed to that discussion. So if you go to the last show, in the comments, there is a long description of the issue of these backstop little screws that do not come with the camera, but we do recommend to put on the camera. Correct. So our friend here, Robert Rosario, made a long description. So if you are going to have that lens, if you have that lens, or you think about buying that lens, look at that last episode and then get into the comment section. And by the way, I'm going to make a call here for after the show. Please do leave us some comments there, because the opportunity exists. You don't have to rewatch the show, correct? If you watch it live, but the opportunity exists to do some additional exchanges of idea in the comment section. And Randall will tell you that also that helped with the algorithm on the YouTube channel. All right, you call
and where to buy them. That's another point.
Yeah.
Because I look for my Kirk, which I don't have on my Kirk foot the things, and they are much thinner than the other holes.
Okay.
They have a different body.
That's why we have a good engineer like Bob that can probably can. So which you want those little screw for your Kirk plate on what lens?
Yeah, on I think it was on a 400.
Okay, on the 400. 400 4.5. So he probably can tell you which one fit into that, because those stoppers are very important.
Yeah, I know.
And want to say hello to Albert is now in the chat. Tonight I moved stuff around so I could see the chat now for a change, so I can at least see when people are popping in. So hello to Albert. It's good to see you in here in the chat with everybody. Appreciate that very much, and I'm sure you're still modifying lenses for cameras for people, and.
Okay. He's a baseball pitching coach also, and so he's probably really busy. You know.
There you go. There's your answer, Terry. Kirk uses a 440 screw, 1/4 inch long.
Now you have to look at it in Amazon and see where you can find some.
Yeah. It's not metric. 440 is not metric.
Yeah.
So
I see if I can find on Amazon or something.
let's put it in here,
Yeah.
and let's put this one here.
Now there's only a few lenses that were even talked about. I mean, a TT Artisans with a 11 millimeter f2.8 fisheye lens for Z mount. Now you can get it in silver if you wanted to have a silver one. It's $235 at B&H. If you go to B&H, it says new item coming soon, so you can't order it yet, but it is at least showing up in their on their website. And the 300 millimeter PF lens that some of us may have owned,
Appreciate that.
I owned it at one time, a F mount lens, supposedly is now discontinued. So I'm sure if that's something that somebody wants or thought about getting, now's the time to see if you can pick some up before whatever's left in inventory. Obviously, will still be available, but they're not going to be making any more. And a company called Izada, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, ISO TTA. They introduced a new underwater housing that for the Nikon Z50 version 2. Pretty expensive, $2,672 for the housing. And then last but not least, SG Image, which is another Chinese lens manufacturer. I mean, the Chinese lens manufacturing is going nuts, and all of a sudden there's all these other brands you've never heard of that just keep showing up all the time. But they came out with a 35 autofocus 35 millimeter f2.2 pancake lens for the Z mount, and I looked that up to try to find the price. It was $149. So we all make our commentary and have in the past about things to be cautious about with third-party lenses, and realize that sometimes it's always possible that a firmware update on a camera body of any brand might all of a sudden make a third-party lens not work properly, or the third-party lens is not really quick to update the firmware on their lens to make sure it works with the body that you're using the lens on. So there's always some risk with the third-party lenses, but then again, there are a lot of good third-party glass out there, and that give very good results at a cost savings for most people. So not something you want to totally discard by any means. So that's really, unless Gustavo has something Nikon related, I mean, that's really the only things I put down that I wrote down.
We got that image from Artemis too, but we discussed it at the end. So I think we already have 16.
We have 16, so we might as well get going and bring up the window with the images for the show. Give me a second.
What, I didn't make it to first?
No, because I already, by the time I talked to you to see if you wanted me to share the ones that you told me I could use if need be on the last show, I already had a bunch of them in order and everything. So, but yours are split up in two different groups, though, David.
Yeah, I just don't see them on the bottom. They're a long way down the list.
You get to talk twice. Let me get the information here for these.
600 millimeter.
So the first few images here from Bob, my friend Bob our photos, and he took all these with the Z8 with the 180 to 600 Z mount lens. Most of the settings are 1/1250th of a second using auto ISO and wide open at f6.3. So, obviously we shoot a lot together. So I smile when I get his images because I usually have one that's either exactly the same or pretty darn close. But this is the yellow-rumped warbler, and this was where they were picking off berries, and when cedar waxwings managed to show up at a point in time where we felt that they had already left the area and they must have backtracked, and they came back, and so they were feeding, and then these warblers like to feed with them. They kind of show up after the other ones leave, because the other ones make a lot of racket and are very aggressive feeders, and then these guys show up and pick off stuff, and they kind of take turns. So this is his first image, and then, like I said, they're sharing the food source here.
Nice.
With the cedar waxwings, which, I mean, are just stunning birds. I mean, they are just so pretty, and it's hard to get isolation on these birds. I mean, you end up, if you want isolation, you got to do a lot of cropping, because basically they just all hit sections of the trees at the same time, and then some are upside down, some are like in the middle of the tree, some are, along the edges, and very, very hard to isolate these guys. You have to isolate by cropping. I mean, that's really what you have to do most of the time.
It's very nice to be all together.
Yeah.
They travel in flocks, Terry. Unfortunately, they are around here too, Jeff and Bob, but never have the good opportunity to photograph them. So these are so wonderful.
Yeah, they're just really beautiful birds, and some of them, I don't know if in this picture, if you could see it. I think on this, I don't know if you could see my arrow or not.
Nope.
You can see that one little red mark on the wing on this guy here.
A drop of paint.
Little drop of paint. Yeah. You got the little drop of yellow at the end of the tail. You got the little red marking, but they got to be positioned. When you're lucky if you could get a picture where you can get like all the different colors, of the bird, with the red line and the yellow on the tail, and the yellow and the white on the belly area, and they're just gorgeous birds. They really are. I mean, we don't see them for an extended period of time down here. It's a very short period of time. And then the next image is another yellow-rumped warbler. What's nice about these guys is when they're feeding, they're not as voracious eaters as the other ones. I mean, these guys will keep it in their mouth for a little while, and you get a nice picture of them with the food in their mouth. Whereas the waxwings are just like devouring everything as fast as they can, and sometimes you just can't get a shot of them with it in their beak, because it's just down the chute right away.
It is more civilized, like to pause.
Yes. Yeah. Now, the next couple images from Bob are actually the next 4 images. We went to a place called the Santee Coastal Reserve. It's a wildlife management area, and it is acres and acres and acres of land. It's about a little over an hour further away than where we normally shoot at the state park. Another extra hour drive, and unfortunately, it's one of those areas where you got to go when it's cool. You have to go when it's cool with a breeze, because once you get the summer heat, the bugs will pick you up and carry you away and feed on you. So you have a very short window, in the early spring when you still have those cooler mornings, and then you basically don't go back until late in the fall, when the temperature starts to drop again, because you just can't stand the bugs unless you're going to wear like a full netted outfit over your face and everything. That's the only way you could do it. But anyway, we went there, and we were there very early in the morning. And we had fog, and we saw these. Bob and I both saw these beautiful spider webs, and had to take some pictures of the spider webs. I mean, it was really quite nice. And so he has a couple shots in here that he took of the spider webs.
If you were lucky, have a bit of dew, would have been better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think these look much better in black and white than they would in color.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The then he managed to get some real nice shots of these birds in flight.
Oh, nice.
It's hard to tell if they're blue-winged teals, I think, or green-winged teals, one or the other.
I think it's got blue wing.
I think they're a little bit of blue-winged teals.
Yeah.
And he managed to catch them streaking across. And I didn't get them because he saw the birds. He was looking a different direction. He saw the birds coming, and he got a couple nice shots of these birds in flight where I was more to the right, and I was kind of doing a more of a landscape shot that you'll see later on. But he got some really nice shots of these guys flying.
Great capture, Bob.
Landing.
Yeah, very good. So that's it for what Bob sent in. So thank you very much, my friend, and we will see you on our next shoot.
So who's coming next? And what are the next?
We got Roy, and then Randall, and then Terry. So we got a few from Roy. Roy's are split up because he sent me some pictures that his wife took. So I got the ones that Roy sent first, and then the other ones are shown a little bit later. So Roy sent in one of his friends.
Yeah.
One of his friends. I think they think that Roy has like a food drive-through at his house, you know.
Probably, yeah.
It's a fly through.
A fly through. Yeah. That's a good one, David. Fly through. Yeah. Roy just sticks his hand out of a window with a piece of bread or something, and they come by and grab it.
I wonder if it is a sausage.
So, Roy, which camera did you use for this one?
He's there? I don't think he's here.
No, he's in the chat. He left.
He left.
Yeah, he's having problems with that webcam. And he hates the ZR too. Nothing's working for him. So.
He must have compressed that photo quite a bit. You can see this is a good example of banding in
Yeah.
So I was going to ask him about the size of because if he took it with a new camera, correct? Probably his C9, then it must have been when he reduced the JPEG to send it to Jeff. Yeah, you see?
Yeah, right. Like looks like
It could be just an old image.
Yeah.
Interesting. But anyway, just
He said Z8 with the 180 to 6.
exactly. So that's when he made the he said you a very small size JPEG because this is due the conversion into the JPEG with the lower resolution. So anyway, if people that sometimes don't see the banding, well, here is a good example.
Yeah.
I found I had banding when I was using Photoshop in 8-bit color, and when I changed it to 16, all of that went away.
Yeah. Oh, that also do it too. So here we got it from Roy, who. So anyway, Roy, it's a good evening.
So then he sent some B photos.
B-side.
B.
Busy as a bee.
B.
So we sent some B photos. This is a B-rated show, by the way. B-rated. So and we got a couple here.
That's nice one.
Nice detail.
Nice detail.
And then you got one
So
more
what did
here.
you use, Roy, on this one?
Ready to go.
Yeah, I don't know if these are. Yeah, he says this is another reason he doesn't use JPEGs much.
Yeah.
But that's it from the first batch from Roy, and then we'll see some more that he sent in. Like I said, some of them are pictures that his wife had taken. Randall, you were up up to get ready to go
Okay.
here. I'm going to bring up your first, what I think is your first shot, and let you talk to it.
Okay. Yep. So let's see. Let's get into preview. Okay, I got it. It's the Leighton tall crane frame 1. Now you're going to be shocked what lens I used with the I believe it was the Z8 with this, but it was actually the 28 to 400 millimeter, and this was at I believe
Yeah, 105.
yeah, at 105.
Yeah.
Correct. And you know, it still with the lens like that, and I could get a good picture quality with the Z8 in the middle of the night. It's fantastic. But look at the Leighton, how sharp and clear that is. And that, I believe, was in manual focus. So, I mean, not manual focus, in manual exposure. So, that, you know, I love the colors. The 28 to 400, a lot of people poo-poo it, but it's still a great lens. I still like using it. I use that lens. I use the 24 to 120 and the 28 to 135 PZ, and I love those lenses. You don't have to have like a wide aperture or wide open lens all the time. You can have some good lenses that will still perform.
And I'll bring up another view.
And
This
so
one you're at 400 millimeters.
yeah. So one was at 28, I think, or at 70 millimeters, something like that. And this one was at 400. And just look at the Leighton. Most cameras with lenses, especially at nighttime, unless you dial it in real good, they can't get it as sharp as this lens does. And I have used the 28 to 400 for a little macro work also. So I can do a lot of things with that lens.
Yeah. Well, definitely doesn't show that much chromatic aberration around those point of lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to interrupt here a second just because of the comments in the chat. Is Roy and anybody else out there, don't worry about sending me JPEG images. You could send me larger files. I can handle it. I mean, I don't keep them on my computer after the show anyway, so don't worry about, just as long as the file isn't so big that it can't be sent via email. I mean, that's the only thing you got to worry about. I'll bring up your next one, Randall, here.
Okay.
A
All right.
friend
So you
of
went
yours.
to the dog.
A friend of yours.
Nice boy.
Yeah. Now, this is going to shock you too. All right. So this is the Sony A6700 with the APS-C 35 millimeter f1.8. It's an OSS lens, so it's stabilized. But this is a crop sensor camera with a crop lens, and look how sharp and clear that is. Now, I have used this lens on the ZR and the Z8 with a Megadap ETZ21 Pro Plus adapter, and it works great also. And if you, let's say if you're doing like a 4K 60 on video, the cropping of the 4K 60, you know, with stabilization on and stuff, you will not see the vignetting. You would think that it's a full frame lens, but you know, it's just magic what you can do with different lenses with adapters. And of course, this is the A6700, but I have done videos where I've used that adapter with these lenses, and it works great. So if you're leaving like from a Sony to Nikon, you don't have to sell you can sell your cameras, but you don't have to sell your lenses. You just get an adapter and they'll work fine with the Nikon cameras that I've used it with.
Well, there's a lot of that is a one plus with the a plus with the Nikon bodies is that there are a lot of adapters out there for a lot of different lenses that you could put on them.
I like the shallow depth of field, Randall.
Oh yeah, and of course, with the crop you can't get too close, but um, that
Yeah,
one and a
because
half crop. Yeah.
lucky to take a
So
bite out of the lens.
yeah, and if you don't watch your food on the counter, he'll take that too when you're not looking. So
1.8 is very nice.
Here's your next one.
all right, so this is the light bulb I call it. This is my next door neighbor. Um, he uh, he has a whole bunch of lights in the back, and the thing I want to show you is I think I sent the wrong picture, but look how clear the glass
Looks
is.
very clear.
Yeah. So on some of the images I've done with the different cameras, okay, so this is still the 28 to 400. All right, you can see what's through the glass. So it's a little pixelated a little bit. You see it's blurry in the background, but you can get some great images with this lens, and you don't hear a lot of people talking about it. All in
Because
one zoom lens
because we
telephoto.
we are snob. We are saying, "Oh, this is not a good lenses," and I haven't seen any of the lesser lenses to produce bad images anyway.
Yeah.
Until now, all the images I've seen with these lesser lenses, they're brilliant.
Well, it seems like it seems like the lens manufacturers now are
I
I
saw
feel
it
like
with
one minute it's like in terms of bodies, one minute it's like, oh, this one does more frames per second, or this one's you know does 4K 120, and the other one doesn't do 4K 120, and then now you get into the lenses, and now what's becoming the two things that seem to be becoming predominant with lens design now is faster autofocus and being faster glass as well. And depending on as Mr. Irwin likes to say, as Matt likes to say, along with many others, is it depends on your use case. I mean, if you're doing landscapes, I don't need a 1.2 lens to do landscapes. If I'm
yeah,
doing
but
if I'm doing landscapes, I got it on a tripod. I don't, and I'm not shooting it wide open anyway. So it all depends on what your use case is.
I have seen a variety of these images and these lenses, and until now, I haven't seen any which is, oh, that's no good. Oh, this if it is a little bit a vignetting or something, all these things they are fixable, very
Right.
very easy. Well, but we like to talk about, oh, this is this that and this is, oh, I have the S series and you don't have the S series. Mine is better. That's not yours is
Yeah.
not better, and that's I don't know. Sorry for what. Yeah.
Well, we get to I don't know. I think a lot of times
I am one of
people
them.
want to badmouth the cheaper lenses because
I am one of them, Jeff. I have all my lenses are S. I bought it from the beginning. I have all of them, the top. But I have realized that wasn't necessary. I have
Well-
the 1424, and I saw photograph from the 1430, and I couldn't find any difference.
well, I mean, I've got I've gotten for wildlife. I mean, I got the 180 to 600. That's not an S lens. And
Yeah.
now, if you want to get real technical and take the same image with the 600
We are
PF lens,
spoiled.
okay. If you magnify it enough, you're going to see a difference. But in real life, if you were to print that thing out, I mean, you would have a very enjoyable print that 98% of the public would say that image looks fantastic, and they'd have nothing to complain about.
Exactly.
And you're not paying the big bucks, and you have the versatility of the zoom. But and then we got another close up.
Yeah, so this is the 28 to 400 again at 400, all right, and use the Nikon Z8. But look how sharp everything is. You can now, if he was looking at me, you could see the eyeballs. You could probably see myself in reflection. This is a great lens, and what you can see on your lap and on his right side of his mouth by a whisker, he was chewing on some acorns from the
Yeah.
live oak tree. So when he goes out there, he's either on the picnic table or he's chewing the acorns. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but you see,
But you don't feed him enough,
hair is
Randall?
out of focus.
no, look, like I said, he's the mooch hound. He's still a puppy, and he eats like a horse,
He's like,
and he's not getting any weight. So he might have some worms. I don't know.
He's
And
active
then-
chasing the cat around, probably.
No, the cat is locked up. I tried to, if I had a gate, they would look at each other, but the dog wants to play with the cat. The cat wants nothing to do with him. He says, "You're just too big and you play too rough, and I just want to lay in the bed, sleep,
I
eat,
don't like
and
it.
pee."
Well, the cat can probably handle itself against Lucky.
Yeah. He tried to go underneath the bed, and Lucky tried to follow him.
Yeah,
That
Lucky
was
doesn't want to get a new nickname called Scarface, so best to keep him apart.
Yeah, his middle name already is Trouble. So
His trouble. And then I think you got one more here, Randall, if I remember right.
yeah, the mermaid. So this is the new 24 to 70 f2.8 version 2 S. No, I take that back. This is
No, that's what you
No,
got.
yeah,
That's what's in the metadata.
yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's at 70 millimeters, and it's a Z6 III. So even the Z6 III, just like the ZR, okay, can take good quality pictures. Now this is only a 24 megapixel camera, but look at that. You know, the shine, the gleam, even the blurriness of, let's say, the light switch, and even the lamp in front of it is blurry. But as you get to the mermaid, it's clear, it's sharp, and then if you go to the right, you can see the door is kind of blurry. But if you look at the reflection on the glass, notice that it almost matches. It's almost a straight line. There is an angle, but I thought that was a great shot, and I wanted to share that. And that's just with only two lights on another table, not the ceiling light. So I wanted to share that also. You can get some good cameras with different lenses, and you know I didn't have to doctor any of these pictures at all. You know, just straight out of the camera. So that's my take for the April. But I just wanted to share those photos that you know I deal with a lot of cameras, a lot of lenses. Some are cheap, some are small, but I make them work, and you can do anything with anything. So that's what I try to stress.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sending in that group.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Randall. Terry, you're up next. You're up to bat next, my friend.
Oh,
Hopefully, I put them in the correct order. If not,
Oh,
one of these
yeah.
days, I'll just screw them all up on purpose just to mess with you. But I don't try
Yeah,
not
that's
to
good.
do that. I try not to do that.
yeah, we believe you.
It's gorgeous.
How do you get the water to go up instead of down, Terry?
It was I was blowing.
Oh, okay. That makes
I was
sense.
blowing. Yeah. Yeah, that's called Cellulose. Believe it or not.
Well, that's why I'm having you narrate your own pictures because I'm not going to try to pronounce it.
Yeah, for the last show before I go, I choose to go again full Iceland, and all of them I sent to you this time was from Iceland.
Beautiful. Love the
2470 and 27, 5.6 and 1500 with a 1000 ISO.
And then your next image here.
Well, what are the flowers, by the way, Terry? The ones
Uh,
before?
I
They
don't
look
know
like
if the name looks like the cotton, but it's not. And I asked another guy there, but he didn't know, a local, but he didn't know the name either. And I haven't tried to. Sorry, I haven't tried to find out the name. But it was like the cotton, like the open cotton flower.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
thought, oh yeah, that's a cotton. I said, no, it's not. It's not cotton. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like little cotton balls.
and they're called cotton grass.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the. I'll make the photograph of the glacier. You can see on the bottom there. They're losing about 20 to 30 meters a year.
Oh, wow.
They told me that a couple of years before this one was not, walkable area with just ice.
So the flowers. This one are. This is
This is the lupins.
the lupine.
Yeah, lupin.
Actually,
Yeah.
it's, from Alaska, correct? It's an invasive species here in
Oh, really?
Iceland. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love to.
The first time we saw these ones, they were in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And it is a bit colder than here anyway. And then when I saw them on Iceland, actually a friend of mine loved them and tried to catch them on a full bloom, but until now he doesn't have the luck going to the proper time in New Zealand. And I was teasing him that the time I go there was full of lupins everywhere.
Yes.
Here's your next one.
The glaciers in the Buskokul.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. I love the clouds.
Loma
Yeah.
Gnupur.
Yeah, this is very the clouds make this shot, don't they?
Yeah. That's the Loma Gnupur mountain. And I think you, Jeff, asked me, and I give you any permission anyway. I have another corner from a different angle with the yellow flowers. And you said you like them. And if you can keep them. And I said, yes, you can.
Yep.
If you remember,
Yes, I have it on my desktop.
You see, Terry, when he visited Iceland, he sent me some text complaining about the weather, which I understand why, because I was almost at the same time and it was raining every day. But we were always sure of having dramatic skies, correct, Terry? And because they are long, if there is too much weather, you just wait. Right?
Yeah, and sometimes had a really nice one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's when I first saw this one, I smiled a little bit I'm thinking of the obviously it's not a picture of what they used in the movie. I'm thinking of Close Encounters of the Third Time when they're all climbing up the mountain. Yeah, I was looking for the UFO in this picture. I couldn't find it.
It's behind there, Mike.
Yeah.
Behind the cloud on the other side.
Talking about Devil's Tower.
Devil's Tower.
Yeah, that's right. Devil's Tower. Yeah.
In South Dakota.
Maybe the Loma Gnupur would mean that. I don't know, Icelandic.
That place, not because of certain encounters, but that place is spooky. Even when you visit, and I have been there a couple of times, it's beautiful to photograph.
And and you want to have clouds.
Yes.
That's
this is
panel.
really cool.
I think it was two photographs with the 2470 and 30 millimeters. called Folaldafoss, sorry. One is f9, 160, 160 and 160 ISO.
Now that water is just dumping into the ocean, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the far left-hand corner. I don't know if that's
Or some
or a big lake or something, maybe.
lake, yeah. Because what you see there is not a sea. This is far
Okay.
away from the sea. Yeah.
Okay.
But eventually could go down there.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous.
There is. Harry will tell you that. I mean, if you like to photograph waterfall, Iceland is a place to go for sure.
Yes.
I've never seen so many.
Yeah, that's the only place I've seen more than Iceland was the New Zealand, the South Island, which is, if there is a bit of rain and you go to the south side, you will be amazed how many waterfalls there are there. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Now, do you find yourself being able to, get the blurring that you like of the waterfalls without having to use an ND filter because
Most of the time.
because you have some clouds cover or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't have to use one.
I have the whole series of filters, but I'm lazy sometimes, are forgetting, or sometimes you say, okay, doesn't matter. And maybe because I never had filters on the beginning, I started learning to do the trick without the filters. It's
Yeah.
not always easy. You have to combine ISO with speed, with aperture and all this. To achieve similar results, and particularly I like to shoot about 1/4, 1/15, 1/20, because I want to have the movement but the detail too. I don't like on the beginning I was shooting all the way with 30 seconds. 1 second, 2 seconds. And they were too wide. On the end, I find out I didn't like it. Yes, all right, it's good, but it's not my style.
You
can
still
say
want
that.
it to look like it's water.
Yeah, exactly. Not
Yeah,
just the
yeah,
white form. You need to have a bit of roughness. You see the water. That's as you say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the famous Budakirja Budir, the small black church. It's known around the world. Everybody go to Iceland, they will shoot that. That's with a 2470 at 36, f5 furlong, 5.6, 160, 160, and 160 ISO.
Now, is that an active church? Is it people go there?
I'm not. I have to. I believe in it, but I can't be sure. And
Yeah.
this angle was the only angle I have clear without people.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the other angles, I make these photographs. I have to take out a couple of people from the frame, and I was running around because I didn't want to make again the same photograph.
Yeah. And then there you go. Bang.
That's the famous Reynisfjalla. Right, road. Reynisfjalla. The black sand beach. This is the point of view which I don't like. I like it from, as you can see them on the left behind the rocks. It is another beach, which you can see how many actually rocks there are there, because the big one at the left, it is two big ones, and the third one come between them. It is very nice. From the other angle, I believe it is much better. But yeah, I like the black and white. I saw them straight away for black and white. I'm not absolutely happy with the out. I think it's a bit too dark. I lose a little bit here, at least on the JPEG. I'm losing a bit of definition on the rocks, but yeah, well, you can't have everything.
No. Well, you try.
On the raw image and on my screens they have the definition, but when I turn it on JPEG and this resolution, I lost them. I thought, yeah, okay. I had to go back to the raw to process and all this, and I thought, nah, I'm lazy.
And then we got one more here from you.
Well, this I asked for a critic, if you remember.
Yeah. So here's where Terry wants people to comment on this image, and I like an image like this because it's, you know, you're drawn to the foreground element, and it's kind of minimalistic at the same time.
Yeah, I was alone, as I said on the email, that was a moment of solitude. I was away from the rest of the group, which they were playing with the drones, and that was my big complaint about this tour. They were more focused on drone photography, which I never was interested.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like it. I like it because it's the only. It's the only, you know, signs of life in a way that you see in the image too. You know,
that's the reason. Yeah.
You know,
that's the reason to make me do.
So I like the intent of it. I like it.
I don't see any problem yet, Terry.
No, you got a good eye looking for something different, you know, and making an image out of it. So that's obviously one of your many talents.
Yeah, Terry, the only comment that I have is in the upper right, the jet trail.
I haven't noticed that until now.
Well, that's the advantage of having somebody else with fresh eyes.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I asked for a critique. Yeah, that would be easy fixable.
And on the lower left, there's 4 white spots.
That
well, that could just be
the soil there, because
soil.
I thought the next time you will say something about the things on the right corner, down right corner.
Oh, where it says Terry K.
Where it says Terry K. Yeah, I don't know how you got your name in the photo when you took it.
Yeah,
That's
how did you
good.
do that?
I have the magic Z9, Mike.
Yeah.
But you have the microphone on your camera. You don't using it? That's why it is for.
Well, I use the microphone on my camera every so often.
Maybe this doesn't understand you.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Because speak Canadian.
Well, better than Aussie.
Now that you have the proof in front of you. He reads mine, not yours.
I just want to say hi to Jeff and Leslie who are here.
Yeah.
So hello to Jeff and Leslie. Hope you stick around for a little bit. And that's the last image from Terry. So thank you so much for your images, my friend.
No worries. Thank
Great
you.
images, Terry.
Yep, as always.
Excellent.
Thanks for having them.
We got a few images coming up from Roy's wife Stella, and then David. Then your first set of images, which would have been thrown in on the last.
Yeah, I can see them.
Will be there. So, so we've got a friend here. This says Roy's late. Roy said this is their late doggy. And his wife took this picture. Cute dog, Roy. I'm a dog person anyway, so I have a soft spot for dogs. And then she put in a couple of as Roy titled them, Midnight Munchers that showed up. Stopping at the as David called it, the fly-through or the drive-through, whatever you want to call it, at Roy's house.
They love apple.
Mm-hmm.
They love everything anyway. They were eating my jalapenos.
Oh,
All of them. In a night, they took all of them. I hate them.
So the next set of images, the next group of people coming up, we got David with some images. Then I got Luis's images. And after Luis, we got, and then I got part 2 of David's images. So David had split. I split David in 2. Awful sight to split David in 2, but somebody had to do it. So we'll throw up David's first image here.
Okay, this is the Chinese New Year at the Chinese Cultural Center, and I was shooting these. With
She doesn't
okay,
look
about 24 to 120. I was trying to get into slower shutter speeds, but just fast enough to catch the dancers catch them still, but show the motion of the hula hoops and
you feel
whatever.
miserable.
Yeah. And these all have LEDs on them that flash, and some of them, like in the last one, you'll see patterns.
Yeah, you can see them. These ones that are separate. That's really nice. The right one and the left. Yeah.
But the last one, you'll see quite the pattern.
And the lights, they were running around, David?
The stage was lit not that well. Like this is ISO 3200 at 1/25th of a second, wide open on my 24 to 120. And but it when I went down, I only took one lens this time, and I made it do.
One lens is enough.
As long as it's the right one,
Yeah, as long as it's the right
You
one.
can make it. You can make the right one anyway.
Yeah.
That's what you got legs for, David. That's your zoom.
Oh, I couldn't move where I was to the crowd. I was standing as close to the stage that I could get, and I was still 5-6 meters away. I was probably close to 10 meters away from her. You can go to the next one. And here, this is 100th of a second. At ISO 1000. So like I was trying to catch more of the movement in here because these things they were moving fairly fast. And you can see how I was using my Z8 on this. Well, and this is an 80th of a second. And you can see even more so the movement here. But I was shooting these as a burst, and I was kind of hoping that I would get one where I get her face and most of her body still, because they were moving around fairly fast.
Yeah. I like this one. Look, the movement clearly. It shows the movement clearly. Yeah.
But the next one is the best one, at least in my opinion.
Oh, wow. Looks like she's ready to take off.
Oh, yeah. And that the one that she was waving around.
And they're doing this design.
It's only a couple of centimeters in diameter. but the way the LEDs on it, the way they flash, that's what gives you the pattern. And if I
Yeah,
didn't drag the shutter, you wouldn't see that.
yeah. Okay. You,
And I got other pictures where they've got words that come up there, but the problem is I didn't get their face in focus, or they're just too much movement. But
but
for
this
her,
lady doesn't look Chinese, is she?
some of them are, some of them aren't, and they
Yeah.
got varying degrees, you know,
Yeah,
because
yeah. Just curiosity, nothing.
yeah, they they have some Chinese dancing schools, and the dancers that come out of that, they're really good. And like, there's different years. I've shown pictures of this, and I
That's
go,
nice. It
yeah,
looks like they have a nice integration. And yeah, that's good.
oh yeah, yeah. And the announcers are in 3 official languages.
Hmm,
It's English, Mandarin, and Cantonese.
good.
So it takes them a long time to announce anything. You know.
Yeah.
Well done, David. This is
Okay.
David's first set,
Excellent.
and we're splitting David in half. Like I said, we're going to throw in the images from Luis, and then we're going to go back to David again. So we're going to jump over to
We
Luis.
like to have the last word.
Yes, that way. Yeah, that's right. David gets the last word. So I will narrate from what Luis sent me on the information on these shots, and this was a bicolored ant bird in Costa Rica. This was with the Z9 with the 2 to 500 millimeter zoom at 500, f6.3, 1/500th of a second, ISO 1600 or 16, looks like 16,000, minus 0.3 EV, using a fill flash. And he says in the dark forest of Costa Rica, he found this species looking for insects displaced by a lot of army ants. Says he needed a bit of speed because the ant bird was moving a lot, but he used flash just enough to lighten its belly.
Oh, beautiful.
Excellent.
I like the eye.
Big eyes.
Yeah, big and the white and blue around is nice.
I wonder how big the bird is. Smaller than the
Oh,
hand
it's
or what?
small.
Like a sparrow or a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pretty
Okay.
small. Then the next shot,
Ooh.
this is a long-tailed tyrant from Costa Rica as well, using the same lens, the 2 to 5 at 500, f5.6, 1/800th of a second, ISO 1600 plus 0.7 EV. And he said in this case it was completely overcast when he took the picture, which gave the soft tones in the image. And the problem he had was that he had a lot of green leaves behind that he couldn't avoid, and this was the best angle that he could get. Sometimes unless you, not like you could reach around, go walking around and say, "Hey, bird, stay where you are. I'm going to go clear this area." It doesn't work that way.
No.
But I mean, in a way, the little, if that's a leaf, I'm assuming a leaf or a series of leaves, kind of actually the opening there, kind of like
Hey, frame it well.
framed
Yeah.
bird,
Yeah.
framed bird. So
And I like the tail. So the tail goes downward, the two, and then
Yeah.
it's like a 2-4 kind of above. So it's kind of like counteracting each other.
yeah. So by moving and it's amazing sometimes, and I'm not BSing anybody here, and Gustavo, I'm sure would vouch for me. Sometimes you just got to take 2 steps to the left and 2 steps to the right, and that's all you got to do.
Yep.
Totally change your shot, just moving a couple feet either way. So his next image is this is a red-legged partridge in southern Portugal, and this is with the Z8 and the 500 PF at f8, 1/1250th of a second, ISO 400 minus 1/3 of a stop EV. He took this from his car. He says at the end of an afternoon last October, and he said the whole landscape was still dry after the summer months.
I like how they camouflage themselves.
Yep. And then his next shot. I like this. This is a nice shot. This is a ladder-backed woodpecker in Ash Canyon, Arizona. So this was this is an Arizona bird. Z8 with a 600 PF at f7.1, 1/500th of a second, ISO 400 at a third of a stop plus a third of a stop. And he says this was a common bird. This is a common bird in Arizona that was on his to find list when he came this way in 2024.
Looks like they have a lot of artists in Arizona.
Yeah. So that's what we got from Luis. So I thank him
Very nice.
very much for sending those in.
As always, very nice.
Yeah. I like the way he's got that tree around the bird. It kind of frames the bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, frame and a frame.
So we jump now back to Mr. Stewart to have the last say here on his images.
To who?
Okay, the XF data on this one is not correct.
Doesn't matter. The photograph is nice.
Yeah, this is a composite of,
Yeah,
of 6 images.
Oh, wow. So what lens did you use? The 24 to
Oh, that-
120 then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the lens data is correct.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just not going to tell you that you took multiple shots.
Yeah, and it took me an hour and a half to shoot this. And I was kind of wishing I had some clouds, but I didn't have any clouds. But on the left side of the image, that was shot about an hour and a half before the extreme right side, and they're blended all the way through. And it's the buildings. The light from the buildings, that was about 45 minutes before sunrise. And I finished shooting probably 5 or 10 minutes. Well, it'd be after sunrise I finished shooting.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Very nice job.
Yeah.
And that's water, not ice. Well, there is ice there, but it's mainly
Yeah.
water. You see
Mainly
here.
water. Yeah.
Yeah, and Super Rossi, there's no aurora.
No aurora.
Every night that the aurora's been out, it's either been snowing or cloudy or something like that. It's I've been extremely unlucky this year when it comes to aurora.
So that
go to
forced
the next-
David to take a picture like this one.
Okay. This one, I'm using the 70 to 200, and it just gives you an idea of how shallow the depth of field is, because there is less than a foot between those two birds. And I shot this wide open. Yeah.
I like their bracelets that they're wearing.
Yeah.
Well, that's so they can tell the birds apart.
Yeah.
Because they all look the same. And I'm sure the keepers can tell them apart, but when they're sick and they're not acting normal, it gets to be a bit hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's something you don't want to
Oh,
have surprise you.
Yeah.
And
Everyone's
I
hungry.
normally would shoot this with the 70 to 200, but I had a great big sheet of glass between me and him. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't be there.
No, you'd be shooting it with the 800 with with the 2x tele and in DX mode, and high up from a tree or something.
High up a tree wouldn't matter. And knock the tree down. You want to, you know, even being in a vehicle may not be good. But anyway, yeah.
That's
Now,
the
do they
future.
have
Yeah.
do they have do you have any of these in some parts of some parts of Canada, or no?
Oh yeah, we do.
And they have those special those like buses that they use with people in them to take pictures and stuff?
Yeah, I've been up to Churchill, and they have the bus that I drove around in. It was an old school bus, and they had these great big tires on it that were flotation tires. They had to be 5 or 6 feet high, the tires.
Yeah,
And,
most of the photos that you see of polar bear comes from Churchill, Manitoba.
yeah,
That's the best place in the world to see.
And I think the photographs that are around with the buses and all these are from Churchill.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
And
it's
don't they have signs there too? Make sure you have a gun with you.
oh, you're not allowed to shoot them.
I mean, for self-defense, in case if you leave this area, don't they have signs like if you leave this area,
This is not the States. This is Canada. You can't shoot them.
If you leave the area and you stay out of your car, you're an idiot. So you deserve to be eaten.
Exactly.
And they hunt people.
Exactly.
And they got special people that this is what they do is they round up the bears, but it is and I think the Inuit they stay away from the bears. That they'll shoot it if they have to, but you really got to watch out for them because they will hunt people and they will lie down. And in Churchill, a lot of the big boulders are about the same color as the bear. And when the bear is lying down, and if it got itself bundled up, it's very hard to see. And you don't go out there after dark.
Yeah.
And when you're in Churchill, or you do for a short period of time, because the bears that come into the town, they try to chase them out. And then they have a hotel that they'll put them in until the ice freezes. But it's they're not the friendliest things. Well, they'll come up to you and cuddle you with their jaws.
Yeah, well, they should have been, and they're not.
Yeah, because you're food.
They are where they belong, and we are not on what we belong.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're in their space. And then we got one more from you.
Well, yeah.
Very nice one.
Yeah, I just wish I had got this one to open its wings because they were outside like this. They're the colors are all dark, but inside some of these are the brightest blues and reds and stuff like that. And it's and I was there one day when there were fewer kids because the kids like to chase the butterflies.
Yeah.
And so you can never get a shot.
You can shoot the kids.
And then they try to touch them, of course.
Oh yeah,
No.
And and then so it's hard to get up, but this is close to the minimum focal distance of the 70 to 200.
Good enough.
Yeah, and it's wide open, so so anyway.
Thank you, David.
Okay, no problem.
Beautiful, Mike.
Yeah, good job. The The next, we're going to get some images now from Jeff Sluter. Jeff likes to take wildflowers a lot. He, along with Martin, Martin loves to take wildflowers as well. And so we got a few images that Jeff was kind enough to send in. These might not, these were smaller files, so that's why there might be a little lack of detail. Like I said, don't be afraid to send in a little bit larger files. I'm not worrying about it. Okay, I can deal with it. But these shots that you're going to see, he took with the R7 and the 100 millimeter macro lens, or the 100 to 500 millimeter lens. And he says this is called Virginia Spring Beauty. He tried not to. He was kind enough to use general names of the flowers rather than the scientific names of the flowers, which he probably knew I wouldn't be able to pronounce anyway.
Nobody knows.
I can handle Virginia Spring Beauty. I can handle that. So that's the first image.
Oh,
These are called Dutchman's breeches, or Dutchman's breeches if you're from Kentucky, like he is.
like they're upside down.
Yeah.
Belong here, Australia.
It definitely messes with your mind looking at it, doesn't
Yeah. Not for us.
it? Our minds are already messed up, so we don't know.
Exactly.
So Terry, do you stand on your head when you put your pants on?
Actually, yeah. But my wife helping me to put it. I can't do it by myself.
Just checking,
Well, he's the
I
one
know.
where on the TV commercials where they show the guy, he's in a skyscraper and they open up the window and he jumps into the pants out the window. That's Terry.
Fortunately, we don't have this advertising here. Good ideas in my wife.
The next image here is of what he said is called a rue anemone. He says these usually grow deep in the forested areas that have horrible light. Do not have good light.
That's why we have the flashes.
Well, that's where they're supposed to be. Make it interesting. If it was simple, anybody could do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then he got this is a mining bee pollinating a spring beauty. He says mining bees get their name because they live underground. So they're called mining bees. And this last shot that Jeff sent in is really interesting. My dog is saying hi to me. Hello, Patches. How you doing? You want to say hi to everybody? You want to talk to them? Woof woof, huh? The last image he sent in is one of his favorite of the spring wildflowers called bloodroot, and we'll bring that up here in a second. And he says he loves how the two leaves wrap around the stem.
Yeah.
It looks like it's giving the flower a hug. He says actually the leaves do help protect the flower. They grow very early in the year when frost and snow are still very likely to occur. And that these leaves being wrapped around the flower help protect it from the frost. And the name bloodroot comes from the red, what he's saying is red juice that is inside the roots if they're broken. He says it looks like the root is actually bleeding. And he says once when he was young, impulsive and stupid, as he words it, he says he pulled one of them up just to see if the roots really bled red when snapped, and they did. He says that was 41 years ago, and he still feels guilty for destroying one of those flowers. He says they are neither rare nor endangered, but since he was a kid, he's been very protective of wildflowers. And he says what made him pull that one up is still a mystery.
Oh, great photos, Jeff. Great photos. Definitely love the pictures that you take of nature.
Yeah, that's really interesting with the leaves wrapped around like that.
Yeah.
Beautiful photos.
So the
Excellent.
next images we got are from, let me jump ahead here and see who we got images from. We got a group of images from Anita. And then we've got images from Martin. Martin has a lot of narration on his, which is fine. He always tells a good story. I always like a good story. So we got a series of pictures from Anita. She says this month she's sending something very different from her normal submissions, her version of street photography. And she says these images were taken at an event that celebrates color, spring, and love. And she says, as usual, she's sending some extras so I can pick and choose. I don't pick and choose. I show them all. All photos were taken with the Z8 and the 24 to 120 lens, mostly at f11 and an ISO of 1000. So we have a series of images from Anita that we'll go through. And as she says, they're all very colorful images, and everybody's having a good time. These kind of remind me of, and you'll see it more like in the last image, but these kind of remind me of some of the shots that John Ishii sent
from
in,
India.
I think, where they have the celebration and they're shooting all the stuff in the air and everything.
Yeah, the fireworks.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Who cleaned up the dress after?
I mean, I don't know if they got the fire department there to just spray them with fire hoses or what, but I mean, I don't think I'd be a little nervous, like walking in my house covered like that, and am I going to get it all over the rug? And then I'm gonna try to hop in the shower and.
It's one of those is you wouldn't be allowed in the house until you take your clothes off.
Oh
and
no!
Snow on the ground, so he'll be fast.
Yeah, if I was a kid and if that was me and I walked home and my parents saw me like that, they'd say, "You're not stepping in this house." And my dad would get out the garden hose and he'd just spray me down. I think like I'm an elephant or something.
Well, and the other thing is, you're not getting in the car to ride home. You're walking.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, safety glasses. Oh.
Yeah, these are funny.
So, Anita, what did you put around your camera to protect it?
Well, there's someone that didn't protect their camera.
Didn't protect it too much.
Right? That's good luck cleaning that.
I think it is David. I think Kuarasi is saying that if this is based on that Indian festival called Holi.
Yeah.
It could very well be.
Yeah, like I said, the last image that made me think of that. I just didn't remember the name of it, but I felt bad for the camera. I saw this picture with the camera. My heart sunk.
But that camera is a Canon, so it can take it.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
It's a Canon. Okay, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt that it could take it. I don't know.
Look at it coming from Roy.
Be on eBay tomorrow. Be on eBay tomorrow. As is. Yeah. A limited edition model from Canon.
Oh my God!
Wow, that guy's cake.
Nice.
Cake.
Nice job.
Wow. Wouldn't want to get it in your. I wouldn't think you'd want to get it in your eyes either.
Oh.
Exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
No,
Guys. They must move around with the closed eyes.
Yeah. And this
Yeah,
is the guy. This is the guy that's getting them all riled up to do it, and he doesn't have anything on him to speak of.
Yeah,
Notice how
he's the boss. He's the
clean.
boss.
He's the boss.
He's a sink. That's why
Yeah.
they're doing it.
He's like,
Anita
throw that
says her
powder.
camera didn't look like that. You know?
Yeah.
He's like yelling, throw that powder, throw that powder. But this is the scene that she took the last. This is the last shot, I believe, that she sent me here. This is where you think it's like that celebration that John was taking.
I think it's that holy. Where John goes is a extreme version of it. But
Oh yeah, the extreme version. Yes, where you got to worry about things blowing up right next to your head, type of thing. You know, I think this one's a bit more subdued and safe.
But Anita, good eye as usual.
Very nice. This one is really nice.
Of the colors.
I think we would have shot this with a longer lens. You know,
Probably.
like Paul said, he's worried about his lungs. You know, in your camera and everything else. But she
That's
lives
another
close enough; she can walk home. So, you know.
Yeah.
That's another point. You have to cover your mouth.
Gustavo, do you want to you guys carry on a conversation for 2 minutes while I take my dog out since she's pawing me to death here?
Okay.
I gotta give her a quick run outside, and I'll be right back.
I can go and share briefly here the slide. Let me see if I can find it. Because this one could be a good break here. So this actually, guys, I don't know if you saw this image, right?
Yeah.
Take it from Artemis 2 mission. And there's a couple of interesting things about this image. Obviously, we don't know, Robert, they didn't pop. I downloaded directly from the NASA website, but they didn't put the exit information, or not yet, right? So we know they have a D5 and C9. I think Matt alluded to this.
Ask Robert, because I don't think it is a Z9. This time they took the other ones.
No, I think I heard that they took the two D5 and one C9 because they want to test the C9, which they have qualified already for the next mission when they land. Correct. So, but the main camera is the D5, and actually that was one of the things that I was. I decided not to do it, but I was going to comment on the Matt Erwin show that.
And now you can see why the call of upside down is not for us. We are straight. You see, that's where Australia is. You are upside down.
Exactly. So obviously there is no up or down on space. But the interesting thing about this photo, which I don't know if you guys know, obviously, and should you also seeing that this is actually is inspired on that famous photo from Apollo 8 called the blue moon.
Yeah.
You know, see the blue dot, which actually came later, but basically one of those iconic images from the Apollo. But this is different because this is taken with reflected light. So it's actually the light that is projected here on the image of the Earth is because you have a full moon, and actually the sun is actually behind.
On the right, yeah.
Yep. And you can see Aurora in the picture on the left.
Exactly. You can see both auroras, right? And the boreal.
The green and then the yellow, I think.
Exactly. Not only that, but I mean, that's why this picture also shows stars, because it's actually taken with very little light, but it looks fantastic, correct? And you can see all across the Portugal and the northern part of Africa and in Spain, you can see the little light from the cities, right? So it's a fantastic capture. Obviously, the orientation is peculiar because the first thing I say, I'm trying to figure out, and then I realized that it was Africa upside down. Okay? And also, the other interesting thing about this is
Not upside down. You are upside down.
yeah, you can see a little line, not where the aurora is, but also across the entire side of the photo, which is the thickness of the atmosphere,
The
right?
atmosphere. Yeah.
Which is remarkably small compared with the rest of the Earth. So it makes you think through that. So
But it's all right. We can fill it up with CO2.
exactly. But anyway, I thought that I think it was worthwhile sharing because obviously it was taken with Nikon equipment, but it has some details that I don't think have been discussed as much about the particular capture on the image that makes it different from the captures that were made with Apollo.
Nice, nice.
Anyway, so that I don't know if Jeff is back, but
I'm back. Yeah.
exactly. So any comment from you guys on the photo?
Robert has been making a bunch of comments here.
Okay, so let me go and try to display the comments here for Robert. Okay. And I know Robert can download the images as well.
Well, it's more like the other way around.
Relative to normal. So that's what I put from Google Earth so that we can get oriented. I being a geologist, I always every time I see these images of the Earth, I'm trying to figure out what are they photographing.
Around marble.
Yeah. Yeah, and Robert, do you notice that I put the right color for the polarity of the North Pole versus South Pole on the red and the white? So I try to stick with regular conventions with regard to polarity. And what he said here, yeah. And we have here Ted arriving also the show here. And finally here we got another.
Yeah, the Terminator. Huh?
Exactly. And you can see it on the side that this probably the sun is coming behind, but it looks incredible. So is the light, is the earth illuminated by the full moon, and you can see all the colors. The other thing that is remarkable, every time you have an image of the earth from is not only how blue it is, but how much cloud there are compared with what we typically see in maps of representation of the earth. So anyway, so we can go back to the regular show, but I thought that for us Nikon photographers and for these special images, I thought it was interesting for us to discuss it.
There we go.
So they're still throwing that paint around.
Paint around it. It's like kids with crayons. It's always trouble. I said the next series of images are going to be from our friend Martin Hill, and so before I show the first image, there's a little bit of discussion that he had with me in the email. He says just asked if I'm doing all right. He says he's a bit stressed out at the moment. He's leaving in 2 weeks for a sabbatical. His plan is to hike to Spain, and he says not even kidding. He says it's pretty well known hike, Camino de Santiago / St. James Way. Some call it a pilgrimage. He says, I will see how this turns out for him. It's about 1,500 miles, and he has 4 months and 2 weeks, I guess, to do it. He says it may be a bit far out, but I'm committed, and now I want to try it. Lots of planning and the resources went into this. This also means that I do not know if he'll be able to send photos the next few times we do shows. He says I take a camera, a ZF with the 26 millimeter pancake with him, but he doesn't take a computer. He says he may try to send pictures from his phone via Roy's favorite app, Snapgrid. Anyway, then he goes on to the topic of the photo review, and I'll bring up his first image. So he says early March he was photographing the liver leaf flowers, Anemone hepatica. He says the name comes, you probably guessed it, from the leaves that are kind of shaped like a liver. He says, however, the most striking feature is the blue flower. He says, to me, they're one of the most beautiful wildflowers. He says, yeah, you may have heard him say that before. He's just a sucker for wildflowers. The flower blooms in early spring in the still leafless forests on limestone soil across the Rhine River from his place, where there's a beautiful forest that has a few thousand of them. Because, of course, I have to go there at least once every spring. And he says there's a pretty good place for spotting European bee eaters in summer pretty close by. And with some luck, he says, you may also see well, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. The hoopoe, Hopoe.
That Luis showed some images of that. That's like look like a crazy woodpecker. Remember that we were discussing in the presentation.
So he says, so he went there Monday, March 2nd evening after work, spent an hour sitting on the path in front of the same few flowers trying to get worthwhile photos. He's pleased with the results. He says it's almost as if it pays off to take your time. And this first image, he said he had the white balance turned somewhat towards artificial light to pronounce the red/brown tones the way he likes them, and have to do less in post-processing. He says in post he actually selectively, I like that term, selectively, turned the flower to the realistic cool blue because it was having a somewhat purple color with the white balance he used. He says other than that, not much was done to the photo, no cloning, no cropping, no tricks. This is with the Nikon Z6 II, with the Nikon 70-200 f2.8s with the 1.4 TC. And so you end up with 280 millimeters. And he says he loves that focal length so much more than the 105 millimeter.
Wow.
Let me make a comment. So first, Martin, when you hear this, fantastic photo, right? It's beautiful. It's very minimalistic. But one thing we can see in some Martin photos, and some of the other photographers here, but Martin, a good reflection of that is that you should photograph what you love, right? Because when you love something, when you like something, you get wonderful results, right? You have a comprehension of what you're photographing, and then you apply your techniques to get a fantastic image like this one. So, Martin, congratulations! This is beautiful.
It is. That's beautiful.
Yeah, he's not sitting there taking snapshots.
No,
Oh, it takes a while.
He's planning it out. He's planning it out, and he's thinking of every little thing that he wants to do and what he wants it to look like when he's done.
and that's why we need to take inspiration to try to get to this standard, not taking snaps, but being a photographer. And Martin is a photographer.
So his next picture, let me bring this one up. He says the second picture was taken in harsh counter light with a dark background so the delicate hairs show up. He says this one, and he actually cropped in somewhat because he said he messed up the framing, and he also cloned out parts of a leaf that crept into the picture. He says also some pretty aggressive contrast enhancement. He says, I hope this is okay. He says, I like the photo, even though it is on the heavy side of processing and probably would not be accepted in contests. Who cares?
Who cares?
You got to like it. That's all that matters. He realizes, however, he could totally have taken the photo without those steps being necessary. This is also with the Z6 II with the same combination of the 70-200 2.8 with the 1.4 TC for that 280 millimeter. He's at f4, 1/1000th of a second, ISO 220. So he tries to change up things, sometimes with the same flower, to give himself a whole series of different looks from that particular subject. And here's another shot.
Yeah, that last one was a great minimalist photograph, and this one's great too.
He says
Yeah.
this one, he says, was actually pretty neutral with the processing, and he had the sun in the frame. The sun is in the frame, not much processing here at all. He did use the 105, the 105 millimeter lens. He says he doesn't like it, but it works for this picture. And once again, he used the Z6 II for the camera body.
And the balance of the sun versus the flower on that side. Right? So
Yep.
beautiful. That's what we're here for, Martin, to learn from you.
Yeah. And then his last, I think it's his last shot. I'm not 100% sure. I'll put it up. I think this. He says, just in case you wonder how he got the red-brown lighting in that first picture, he says the sunset was a pretty dim brownish color. This view is 50 meters farther down the path, looking west across the Na and Rhine rivers towards the Hunsrück Mountains. Because the reason for the weird sky color was Sahara dust in the sky. He says that was blown their way all the way from northern Africa. He says this happens at times when the conditions are right, and it can lead to these dirty red, brownish skies. He says it reminds you of the sky when you have wildfires going on. And this was also with the Z6 II and the 105 f2 at f2.8. Excuse me, 105 f2.8 S lens at f8, 1/320th of a second, ISO 100. So very aesthetically pleasing images, Martin, that with a lot of work that you put in on them. So we appreciate you sharing what you do and explaining what you're doing. The next set of images are coming up here are from Gustavo. So we're going to let Gustavo do the narration.
Yeah.
And bring up his first image.
So, as I mentioned, the spring finally has arrived here around Denver, right? So the resident birds are starting to show nesting behavior, right? And as you remember, over the last few years, have been following the natural history of these northern flickers, this type of woodpeckers, right? And I was telling Jeff on my description of the image that they move tree, so they have moved to another tree, and you can see here this guy, which is a male, is excavating a new cavity, taking the advantage of a pre-existing cavity from a smaller hairy woodpecker. Okay, but I love to capture those images that that shows the point when they take all the bits of woods that they have drilled and they spread it around. Right. So this location is not as good likewise as the one where they have the other three where they have been nesting, but hey, they always keep me busy and occupied with what's going on. So I don't know what kind of drama we're going to have this year with the woodpeckers, but the story for this year is starting.
So Gustavo, do you tend to see them year after year trying to basically modify pre-existing nesting areas from other birds versus making original holes themselves?
Sometimes they make a new cavity completely, right? Sometimes they reuse the one from the prior years, and this time, but I think the last 3 seasons, they have been on the same dead tree. Now they have moved to this new tree, which is also dead, correct? but they decided to use a cavity they are enlarging a cavity from a smaller woodpecker that nested here last year. But so I don't know what's happened, why they did abandon the other three. I got some theories, but I'm waiting to confirm the theory because it could be quite interesting. The problem with this tree is that it's not protected, so if they really decide to take upon this tree, I may have to put some metal wrapping at the base so that uh, the raccoons cannot get to the nest.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, so these guys keep me entertained. But I'm glad that we start seeing activity now because since they didn't take they were not in the other three, I thought that this year I may not be able to see them, and that's not the case. They are going to be on this new tree.
Yeah. And then you have other friends too here.
Yeah, so this is a smaller uh, pygmy nuthatch, which actually is in the tree that was abandoned. He's excavating a new hole. They typically don't excavate new holes. They tend to reuse holes, but this guy is excavating a new hole. And this is a typical upside down kind of uh, posture from that. Now, the flickers are relatively large, but the pygmy nuthatch, as the name implies, are tiny, tiny, tiny. So this one here was taken with 800 uh, millimeter plus the times two converter, and in this picture, as it is taken on DX crop, correct? But with all that, I mean, because they're relatively close, but you still need all the magnification, you can still see quite a bit of details on the pygmies. So maybe the pygmies will take residence on this tree.
And then you have I guess a return customer or what have you.
So this year, actually, have been quite a bit of action from the owls. This again is a greenhorn owl. So this is the top of the roof of my house, right? And there have been a lot of um, basically what we call duetting of owls. So they are establishing the territories, and so the last week in particular, almost every day we were hearing them hooting, right, and trying to defend. Now they have large territory, but probably we are here at the margins of two adjacent territory. So they were flying in the middle of the day, being very aggressive, right, with the others. So at one point, unfortunately, I missed that photo. There were two that were kind of flying in top of each other, right? So the one in the because they are being hooted, you can see that all that white on the bottom of the head, which typically is not easily observable. And if maybe on the next show I will show some video because it's pretty interesting. Correct. So that's at the top of my house. Obviously not the best photo, but this is when they are hooting. They take this other pose, and you can go to the next photo here, which is uh, in a better location at the top of that dead tree where the flickers um, nested last year, and you can see where they are hooting. They take what I call the prairie chicken pose, correct? And so they are actively uh, defending the territory, and so I was quite happy with this photo. And although the angle was not perfect, and I couldn't move fast enough to get a better angle with a more frontal view. And the final one I really like is you can see he looked at me moving around, and then I got a decent photo uh, of the owl. So hopefully they will stay. One thing that I told Jeff on my email is this year, prior to all this activity, I did put a large next uh, owl box, correct? So I you never know when you put a box if they're going to occupy, but now they have in my area here, they have a place where they can nest. So that maybe improve my chances of getting this guy to stay around, because I never get tired of photographing the owls.
Oh no, I mean, no matter how many times you see the same species, I mean, it's always a different shot, you know.
Exactly. So
Always. Every different pose is a different.
Yeah.
Pose.
and these guys are so majestic and fantastic, correct? So
Yeah.
I had an interesting event. Sometimes I get a red-shouldered hawk. I have a fence in my backyard, you know, for the dog, keep the dog in the yard. And so sometimes this red-shouldered hawk likes to sit on the fence, and I got like 3 palm trees in the backyard, and a lot of small birds like to fly in and out of these palm trees or in my neighbor's bushes next door or whatnot. And so one day I think I got home from taking pictures, and I had the camera sitting on the kitchen table, and I walk outside to say hi to my wife, who was just sitting out in the sun taking it easy. And all of a sudden, this red-shouldered hawk, you know, flies out of nowhere, flies underneath the palm tree fronds on one of the palm trees, and then like swoops up to, you know, beyond one on the other side of the yard, and he's chasing a very, very small bird. I couldn't tell what kind of bird it was, but and then they went across the water. I have, you know, man-made, you know, drainage pond, I guess is the best description of it. You have a lot of that in South Carolina. Every community has drainage ponds for the stormwater runoff from the streets and stuff. But anyway, I mean, it was chasing this small bird, and that bird was very agile and could zig and zag good. But I'll tell you, that red-shouldered hawk was like determined to get it. I don't know if he or she ever did or not, but certainly surprised the heck out of me. I wasn't expecting to have see that happen, and of course the camera's in the kitchen, you know. But so you guys could just say I'm lying because I have no proof.
no, I think you chose, right? And one time I see you chose an image of a red-tailed hawk in your yard.
Yeah.
I believe you, Jeff.
I've done that, but I never saw one like really like chasing a small bird like that, like within literally maybe 20 feet of me, you know. I mean, it was pretty cool. It's pretty neat. Next images we got are Michael Drees, who is I believe he might still be in Florida, or he was with some of these pictures anyway. So this first image is from the last photo review. He sent some images of snail kites in last month's image review. And here's another picture of one with the snail.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Very sharp and nice.
He says, you know, in this case, he says the bird is smaller in the frame, but the light was really pretty. And all the images were shot with the Z8 and the Nikon 400 2.8 TC lens, unless I mention otherwise. This was at f4 at Indian Lake Estates in Florida. f4 1/3200th of a second, ISO 2800. So this is image 1 that he sent. And then this is one of my favorite birds, the black skimmer. Black skimmer, beautiful color reflected into the water. This is in Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge. And this is with the same lens, also at f4 1/4000th of a second, ISO 280. And he did -2 exposure compensation. He says the beautiful colors on the water were caused by frost-killed vegetation being reflected in the late afternoon sun.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
But you can see, Jeff, the quality of the images from Martin and the quality of the images here from Michael, right? I mean, this is, I mean, you know, taking the photo of the species already good. Taking a good photograph of a species is great, right? And so, fantastic job here,
Yeah.
and that's what we need to aspire to, correct?
Yeah. I mean, it's not about, you know, I mean, with wildlife, it's tough to plan, obviously, because wildlife does what wildlife wants to do when it wants to do it. But you know, if you're lucky enough where you have a good eye, and there are advantages of, like some people say, when you go to the same places all the time. Well, yeah, I mean, I only live close to so many places. But the thing is, there's advantages to going to a lot of the same places over and over again, because you know where to look,
Yeah.
and you get familiar with what is at your location during all the different changes during the season. You know what's there in spring. You know what's there in the summer. You know what shows up in the winter. You know, and so that gives you some advantages. You know, shooting in the you know, within a handful of spots. And Michael goes to Florida all the time, so I mean, he knows where to go.
I know, but he also not only part of his craft, correct?
Yeah,
He goes and then ahead of time and say, what is the time of the day that I'm going to get the right light?
yeah,
What kind of composition do I need? I mean, there is a combination of luck, but also skill and preparation, and and some people has it, some people don't,
yeah.
and he definitely does have it, because these are bird photography, is not bird snapping photography.
Correct.
You got to know your subject and what their habits are too. You
You
know,
have to love your subject.
Now he sent the next picture. He had sent an image of this particular bird in the last month's. Trying to think. I think it might have been standing on a fence or something. But this is a
Creste Caracara.
crested
Oh,
caracara and a feral wild hog. So I didn't know. I don't know anything about this particular bird. So I said, did the bird take out the hog, or was it already dead? And he said, no, the hog was already dead.
already dead. Yeah.
But I figured I'd ask. You never know. I mean,
Yeah.
If I'm lucky, I will have one of these shots.
yeah, this was at f8 at 1/2500th of a second, ISO 2000, minus 2/3 exposure comp, and this was at. Okay, he must have used a different lens here, because he's at. Well, no, maybe not. 560 millimeter.
that's the 400 with the TC engaged.
Yeah, that's with the TC.
Exactly.
Yeah, very interesting shot. Not, I wasn't expecting to see a shot like that.
These are non-native pigs. These are feral pigs, which, as Randall will tell you, there are a problem in Texas, right? And there are
Yes.
big problem also in Florida, right? So sometimes
Yep.
they actually get people get paid to shoot them. So they could be either dead by in the road, or it could be that somebody shoot the feral dog, the feral pig. Right? But the caracaras will take care of it.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
problem, Gustavo, when you shoot them is that the pigs they run around in a family group, and they're really smart, and they notice that they're getting shot. They'll become nocturnal.
Yes.
You won't see them in the daytime at all. And when you capture them, they usually trap them, and they trap the whole family at once. Because if they miss one, the one that they miss would be way harder to catch, because he'll know how the traps work, and he'll never go into trap, and his family will never go into trap. So they're really smart animal.
And this Squaraz is saying that he saw a caracara in Curacao, which they are these are the same. You have these caracaras also there in
I think they have it in Africa too, isn't it?
no, not these ones. These are
Oh,
from the neotropics. They go all the
that's
way
what I
from.
was hoping I would see of them.
No, this is an interesting species, because as you can see, it's a raptor, okay? But it's more It's not the size of a hawk, but it's more related to the peregrine falcon. It's more a falcon than a hawk.
Mm.
And so anyway, interesting. But the crested caracaras are from the neotropic.
You destroyed my dream.
No, hey, you can come and visit Randall because there is a lot of crested caracaras in Texas.
This is the
And they're
channel.
also in Mississippi. They dig a lot of holes, so you have to be careful where you walk or you fall into them. So
Yeah, that's not the peaks, but the caracaras not in Mississippi.
This is the channel where dreams are destroyed all the time. We not only can we destroy your dreams, we empty out your wallet as well.
Oh,
Yeah, that's true.
most of the time we go together.
Yeah, I remember the picture that he submitted with this bird last month. I think it was on a fence post or something. I think it was on a fence post, and it had barbed wire, if I remember right. And the talons on that thing were incredible. I mean, really, really wicked bad.
I saw them on a video somewhere, and I thought that was in Africa. That's why I was hoping.
Yeah. No, but the Africa, you're going to have plenty of opportunity, Randall.
No, I thought they had a caracara. That's what I think I heard that. But yeah, anyway, we'll find out.
Now, the next image that Michael sent in was of one of my favorites that I like to take, even though you say it's not a special bird, but I always love these birds. Is the as simple as they are, is the red-winged blackbird.
Yay!
And what Michael wanted to do is he wanted to make sure that he darkened the background enough so that you could actually see as it's
The breath, huh?
the breath as it's vocalizing, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And
It is faintly, so yeah, it is. Looks like that.
so he says this was he took this soon after, so he must be back home. He says took this soon after arriving back in Pennsylvania at his local lake where he got this. And like I said, he wanted to shoot against a dark background to get the condensation coming out of the mouth of the bird. And the fact that he would think of that, a lot of people wouldn't even think, what can I do to capture that? They would just,
Take out the telephone and do it.
Exactly.
And then he took what he called the bonus image, sent me the bonus image, drum roll, of a infrared image that he took. He says the house in this photo was the setting for the opening scene in the movie Doc Hollywood starring Michael J. Fox. And he met the owner of the property, Kim Hirsch, during a visit to Canopy, Florida. And he says a very colorful character. But interesting that you got a picture that was from a scene in a movie. So that's it from Michael. So, Michael, thank you so much for sending those in.
Thank you.
And let's see, what do we got coming up? And next we have a group of images from Paul, aka Scubarazzi. So Scubarazzi's images are coming up next. And we will start with me. I'm gonna get my mouse on the other monitor here.
That's his book.
He says, so this time the topic is Nomen est Omen. At least my images will match my nickname, he says. Mid-March, he was in Egypt to do some scuba diving. He says after 4 years, he was able to join a trip for a week on a live-aboard boat. Unfortunately, March is not very stable, he said, with the weather, so they weren't able to sail as far south as they planned to, but it was fine. They were able to do a lot of dives. And images should give you an overview on what he was able to see. And
I know Scubarazzi is on the chat, but Terry and you, Jeff, were asking what part of Egypt was this. So did he mention in the notes, or Kurasi not? Can you tell which part of Egypt were you diving? Red Sea or somewhere else?
No, this is this image here is in Port Galib in the south of Egypt,
Okay.
is what he says.
So
HDR panorama
so
during sunrise.
so it's a Red Sea.
It's shot from his boat. He says you can see the boat next to them, and then in the background, the seaside houses / restaurants, and the building at the far right side is the harbor
This is his fishing boat.
office. So this was the first morning before they left port.
South of the Red Sea, yeah.
South of the, yeah. And then he made a comment, which Gustavo and I and probably other people here, Paul's saying close to Marsa Alam. Brings up stuff that if you ever dove in your lifetime, you see things.
See, if you try, you can speak the other languages. You speak Arabic now.
I don't know what the hell I'm speaking. I'm bluffing, man. But he made a comment. The reef looked a lot worse than 4 years ago when he was there before. He doesn't have the feeling that it's because of too much tourism, but related to climate change and warming of the oceans. Very sad to see. He says also the amount of fish is disappointing. One good thing was they were able to see 2 reef sharks. He didn't see any of them during the last few trips. And there were a few young divers on board, and it was sad to see that they will never see colorful reefs as people like him, like Paul has seen and Gustavo and I remember during our active diving days. And, I went on to, tell him a story how, I visited South Caicos and the Turks and Caicos island chains back in the late 70s when I graduated high school, and went on a trip through the dive shop that I worked at part-time. And at that point in time, when you were on the dive boat and you looked down, you saw sharks everywhere, and you went in the water with them, and it was, reef sharks, different types of reef sharks, nurse sharks, that type of thing, but decent sized sharks nonetheless. And then when I went there, I think when my wife and I celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary, we went to Providenciales, which is the capital down there, and went diving again, basically twice a day, sometimes 3 times, but at least twice a day for the week that I was there. I don't think I saw, I know I didn't see any sharks until the last day, and I saw one, and it was at the extreme, limit of my vision, and I'm pretty sure it was a shark. But that's the sadness, is that there are so few sharks now. You see all the stuff, with Shark Week and everything, but let me tell you, overall, people get all upset when they hear someone got bit by a shark in Florida or somewhere, or Cape Cod or whatever, and you average about between 60 and 70 deaths throughout the course of the year worldwide from sharks. But we've been killing 10 million sharks or more a year for shark fin soup. So I'll get on my soapbox a little bit and say, kind of ballsy of us to be bitching about, not that life isn't important, but 60 humans get killed being where we don't really, not our turf. And we have no problem killing 10 million sharks. So I think
they have nice soup, man.
Somehow, the sharks aren't the ones winning this battle, is all I got to say. But anyway, we'll move on.
And the joke is, have you ever tried soup?
Shark fin soup?
Yeah.
No.
I have friends which they've tried, because I don't like soup generally, but I have friends which they try, and I said that's bad.
Well, I actually ate shark before. I ate mako shark, which is very similar in texture to swordfish. That's the only shark I've ever had. But I
had
have
some
had
when
shark.
we were young.
But yeah, it's just sad how you see things change where there's no coral in a certain area anymore, or the coral's all dead, and that has everything to do with just all it takes is 1 or 2 degree change in temperature, and coral can't handle it.
As Kubarachi said, here is the number is close to 100 million. I heard that on a documentary too. 100 million sharks every year. It is beyond belief.
Yeah, it's well, let's I don't know how many are left. Let's put it that way. It's pretty sad.
Well, they eat dolphin. They eat, of course, tuna, but they also eat, used to be whales, but they're trying to take the pictures off of whales also. So
that's how they are. That's nature, and the whales, they eat them. They eat their own liver, just that's it, and throw out the rest.
Yeah.
But that's how it is. That's nature.
That's your comment, Terry, about the taste of the starfish.
Now that he took this shot of the boat scene here with his Z52 version 2, with the lens that Randall was talking about and shot with earlier, the 28 to 400
Roy.
f4 f8. So anyway, let's get to his fish pictures, or his underwater pictures. His first shot here is of a blue spotted stingray. He says these are small, about 50 centimeters in diameter. Very common in the Red Sea. He says they lay on the sandy bottom waiting. He took the image by going very low with the camera on the sand. Then he did move closer and closer, very, very slowly. And with time, you can see if the ray starts to get nervous, and then he moves back a little bit. And then he did zoom with the camera a little bit to 70 millimeters. He says he doesn't normally do that, but he did in this case. And this was with the a Sony RX100 VA camera with a Nauticam housing, and he uses usually uses the 2 Inon S2000 strobes and 1/1000th of a second f5 ISO 160 at 70 millimeters. Wonderful shot. Absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. Now, his next shot is of a moray eel in a shipwreck. And this animal is very relaxed. He says, now, unfortunately, you can see what they call back scatter when you're taking flash shots. He says you can see back scatter on the right-hand side. You see what, looks like just all these white spots. That's when, in this case, he words it correctly, obviously, he knows. The sand gets stirred up, with the fins from another diver or whatever, and the sand gets up into the water, and then the flash basically reflects off those sand particles, and you get that effect that they call backscatter.
Yeah.
The right strobe, he says, then the right strobe did the rest to mess up the image. And he says cleaning this shot up would take forever, and he's just too lazy. Well, people are focusing on your subject matter more than they are the backscatter. So I would be lazy too. Same camera.
Environmental shot.
Yeah, same camera, same housing. Nothing different here. He was at 24 millimeters though when he took this shot. Now the next
The easy way to get rid of the backscatter is just crop it out.
Yeah, you could crop a little bit of it. Yeah. Well, if you pull it up from the right hand corner, you'd probably chop off part of the gap underneath the more's neck. But
Well, it doesn't have to be rectangular. It could go
yeah,
square.
you could change your aspect ratio. The next shot here should be on this next shot could be on the cover of National Geographic, my opinion. Beautiful shot.
Hey,
This is obviously a red sea
Nemo.
anemone with a clownfish.
It's Nemo, man.
It's a Nemo.
You recognize him?
Says it was hiding in the anemone. Normally you got two of them, but he says the larger female and you usually have a large female and a smaller male. But he says we did not see very many of the females with harems. In other regions, female clownfish have a harem of males. He says what's tricky with shooting clownfish is the following. On one side, they're very nervous and move a lot. And the other thing is that they have that white band that you see behind the eye that's reflective, and the strobes might mess up the image. So he says the good thing about them is that they're easy to find because they swim about a meter above the anemone.
Yes.
A nervous orange fish against a dark blue water is easy to spot. So, I mean, what a wonderful shot. Wonderful, wonderful shot.
Yeah, this is fantastic, Paul.
Yeah. And a lot of these pictures to me and what he shows brings back a lot of wonderful memories for me back when I did a lot of diving in the late 70s into the late 80s, and did a little bit afterwards. But when things were still going bad with what you saw, but not as bad as they are now.
You improved. That's good.
This is always fun, when you're down starting to get fairly deep and you hit those drop off points, because that's where you see lots of times a drop off like this is where you might see, depending on where you are, manta rays, larger fish, stuff like that.
And soft coral.
Yeah, soft coral, basket coral. This is the red coral, is a soft coral, and the stronger the current you have, the more food particulates you have in the water, the bigger they'll get. And he says he did dive down to shoot upwards so that he could have a few divers in the picture as well.
Fantastic composition.
Yeah. Yeah, you should. I don't know if they still have. When I was a kid, they used to have Scuba Dive magazine. I don't know if they still publish that or not, but you should send some. If they're still around, you should send some of your images to them. Then this next shot that he sent in is of a jellyfish, and he took this during the daytime, and what he did was he intentionally shot it so that it looks like it was taken at night. He made it so the background was dark, and then he was able to get it with that little fish on top. And that's one of those fish that kind of follows the jellyfish around. He says he wouldn't call it necessarily symbiosis, but it's not a parasite either. The little fish just uses the jellyfish as a safe home. It's like I'll let the jellyfish protect me from other things and follow around with it. And as far as he knows, this particular jellyfish is not venomous. And this was
Beautiful.
at 24 millimeters when he shot it as well. Same flash, same housing and camera. And then the next shot here, this is a part of a liveaboard shipwreck. The wreck, he said, is already old. He remembers the first time he dove this wreck about 15 years ago. He says, then you could see that it's a wreck. Now you only see some leftovers like the engine and cables and a lot of small things like accessories from the kitchen. He says every year dive spot looks different because divers get creative.
Like the ketchup.
And they move the stuff around. put it in different places. So that's what you get. This is what you end up getting. And this is with a fisheye lens. Put this with a fisheye lens.
Yeah. Nice.
You say, I just saw up on the screen there that Gustavo put it up that Paul said the magazine is still around, but there's a lot of photographers. Yeah, there may be plenty of photographers, but I'd like to think that you have some of the better images, so don't ever rule it out. It doesn't hurt to try. Next image.
But do it with us because we love it.
Yeah, yeah. Next image is of a green sea turtle. Just chilling in the reef, didn't care much about them being around, just hanging around. Didn't mind Paul taking a picture of it. He says he thinks that the old big turtles are so used to the divers that they don't get that stressed. And that's probably why they're that old, because they're chill, as he says. They're chill.
Looks like why you bother me? Get out of here.
Well, I mean, obviously from this and the next shot's another sea turtle shot. Or next few are. You had a amazing trip, and here, you have the
remora.
This is not the same turtle that you just saw. They saw 9 different turtles. This one was on the reef, and it had and he used the fisheye to get close, and you got the remora on the top of the turtle. And he says many of the larger turtles have at least one remora on them. And then in the last image,
I wonder if they're the same like the big fish, like they're going on sharks and things, upside down. It looks like upside down.
Yeah.
They're the sucker on the top.
Well, lots of times the part that sticks is they're on the belly of the subject, but as in this shot.
Yeah.
That's what you're used to seeing them being underneath.
The sucker is on the head. Yeah.
Yeah. Sucker's on the top of the head, yeah. But this is a hawksbill turtle, not a green turtle. This one's a hawksbill turtle, and he says the divers were doing their safety stop there, and turtle didn't seem to care.
Probably they're the same.
So a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful set of images, Paul. Yeah, I love the underwater shots. I mean, like I said, brings back a lot of good memories for me anyway.
Like I say, photograph what you love. And you get what you saw.
Yeah. Except that the subjects are really nice. His job, it is obvious, very good.
Well,
because they're not.
Photographing underwater is so many times harder than photographing on land.
Exactly. All the photographs are pin sharp on a proper position. Beautiful.
Because depending on where you are, you could be fighting a strong current.
Yeah.
Could be, you don't, and you got to pay attention to your environment. You got to pay attention to your gauges, your depth, your everything. You can't lose sight of. It's very easy to get enamored by what you see down there and lose focus. And that's
always you have to look behind you.
That you cannot do as a diver is lose focus, because you may not make it home,
I did that once.
Yeah, it takes a lot to do it. I'm going to skip to the images from that Bob Rosato sent me. I believe.
Yeah, we don't like him anyway.
You don't like him anyway? You want me to? Oh, geez. Bob, I don't know. So he sent me these the other night, and he said he hadn't had any photos to submit for a while. He went to a wetlands area in Longmeadow, Massachusetts, that he discovered when he was actually watching a YouTube video from somebody named Todd DeWald. He says, not sure if you've seen his videos, which I have not. but he's from the same town that Robert lives in. And he says he's learned about a few areas near him that he wasn't aware of by watching this guy's videos and picking up clues from the surroundings. And for this, when he watched this video, he noticed there was a highway in the background and train tracks, and he was able to go on Google Maps and figure out where this wetlands area was, and he was able to go there and get some pictures. So this was about an hour before sunset. Mainly a scouting run, but there were some mute swans in the pond, so he took some photos while he was there. This one's an immature mute swan.
Nice diffused
And
light.
he says relatively close by, taken with the Z9 with the 600 PF, 1/1000th of a second at wide open at f6.3 ISO 1800, and he processed it using DxO Pure Raw 4 for noise reduction. So then he got another image of a swan, also with the 600 PF,
Yeah.
using the same software.
I miss the white. We have too many blacks here.
And we got then he got a pair of them.
Yay.
There's a cute couple. Now here he says the light was starting to fall off and fade, and so the ISO ended up being a little bit higher than he wanted, 12,800. But here you go. I mean, look, it's nothing wrong with that shot at 12,800 ISO. It's just amazing that you couldn't even think about that not so many years ago, being able to get away with that. Let's see.
Beautiful.
Then he got some images. Crap. I gotta find my little arrow thing here. So then he got some images here of ring-necked ducks. Blah blah blah. I gotta talking too much. Ring-necked ducks, and they're skittish, and of course they move away from you when you're trying to take your picture. He says this is a heavy crop because they're trying to swim away. Z9 with the 600 PF. Once again, he's at ISO 9000, 1/1000th of a second, wide open at 6.3. Then Robert comments on, given the Artemis 2 launch this past Wednesday, that brings humans around the moon for the first time in over 50 years. He figured he'd send in some photos that he took of the old Apollo era mission control room. And he wanted to go watch the Artemis launch, but couldn't make it work this week. So you're going to see some pictures that he took of the mission control room, Apollo mission control room, which is designated as a National Historic Site. And he said he's been fortunate enough to get into that room a handful of times over the years. And the first time he saw it, he was at Johnson Space Center for some meetings. And one evening, one of the work colleagues from the Houston office took him to the viewing area behind the shuttle mission control room to watch the docking of the space shuttle with the Russian space station Mir that was happening that particular night. And that was before we had an International Space Station, if you remember. After the dock,
The beginning.
to the old Apollo mission control room. Let's see.
And you can see behind the glass the place where the family used to sit as well, correct? And visitors.
So after the docking, his friend took him to the old mission control room. A year or so after the movie Apollo 13 had come out, and the room was still set up as if they had, they left the room from their filming. And I think that's a subsequent photo. Let me jump ahead here. I could always back up. No, I don't see the pictures there of the documents. But anyway, there were documents at the time placed around different consoles to make it look like it was being used. And he remembered picking up a document and saying, "Hey, this is a document for the shuttle spacesuit hardware that he works on." There. He says in the last few years, they've completely refurbished the Apollo area consoles, making all the screens active again. And you
Oh, wow.
can't go in the room anymore.
Yeah.
The first image was a general view of the control room.
I tell you one thing. During the 60s, they used this green color that's so ugly. I don't know why they had to paint.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He says the area at the back of this room behind the glass wall was where family members of the astronauts would sit down during the missions. And if you were to take a tour of Johnson Space Center today, they take you to this room as one of the stops, as well as the similar viewing area for the current ISS mission control room. He's been in the room when tours show up, and he says some of those people, he says, were probably looking through the glass at him and saying, how come we can't get in there? How come we got to be on the outside looking in? And he took this with a Nikon D7000 and an 18-105 f3.5 to 5.6 kit lens, 1/15 of a second at f3.5 ISO 1000. And then this is another view with this. This was the other view of the Apollo Mission Center mission control room with the Nikon D7000 and the 18-105 3.5 to 5.6 kit lens at 1/60th of a second f6.3 ISO 2000.
And the color is because the people think it is calming colors.
Yeah, that shade of green is supposed to be calming.
Yeah.
Well, better than red. Red wouldn't work too well. He says this is the flight director's console, and this is where Gene Kranz, who famously said failure is not an option, was stationed during the Apollo 13 mission. And
Wow.
Robert has the obligatory photo of him sitting at this console, but he's not sharing it here with us, taken with the D7000 and the 18-105 lens once again. And then this is a duplicate of the plaque mounted on the Apollo 11 lunar lander that is on the moon, taken with a D7000 and the 18-105 lens. Here men from the planet Earth first set foot on the moon, July 1969 AD. We came in peace for all mankind. Pretty cool.
And Tricky Dick has got his name there too.
Yep. And then Robert's last image that he sent me was a plaque given by the crew of Apollo 13. I don't know if I can make it bigger or not here. A plaque given by the crew of the Apollo 13 to their co-workers at NASA that has the mirror that was in the Apollo 13 lunar module, which was their lifeboat, obviously, for their return home.
Yeah.
And the flag reflected in the mirror is the one hanging across the room, which was in one of the previous images.
The mirror was to the astronauts to look behind for the aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not going to tell you whether they saw any or not. Well, some have tried to say they've seen them. Right?
Yeah. Well.
So that's everything from Bob, and the last set of images are going to be, unfortunately, from me. So you got to put up with mine, and then we will go back and do what we normally do and review all the images that we got for tonight's show, which have been fantastic. Let me try to find my images here. Okay. So this first image was the early in the morning shot with the fog, and what I was trying to do here was just there were those little sprouts of I don't know what kind of plant it was, reeds of some kind, and it seemed like each one had a spider web around it. So I just wanted to capture that series of spider webs and those little different stalks sticking out of the ground. Like I said, these were all from Santee Coastal Reserve Wildlife Management Area, which is in McClellanville, South Carolina. And I used the Z9 with the 180 to 600 zoom. Surprise, it ain't the 800 PF. I used the 180 to 600.
Yeah, Jeff, the image we see in the preview is different than what is on the display.
Yeah. There's a different.
No. Oh,
Oh, it's probably
177?
There you go.
There it is.
I added zoom.
yeah.
Sorry. There you go.
I think the other one was better.
Thanks, David. I appreciate all the love and support that I get doing this.
Yeah. But anyway, did you ever think about this one in black and white?
No.
Yeah, well, you know what? I took some. I
No.
know you made the comment before about the spider web ones that Bob did, and
Yeah.
unless you do a lot with the contrast, if you just flip it to black and white, be honest with you, there was so little color in those images that without doing a little extra tweaking, you wouldn't really see much difference. I mean, you could make it look a lot different, but just going from the color shot to black and white initially without tweaking, you didn't see a big difference because there wasn't a lot of color in the shot. But yeah, sometimes I'll take an image and I'll do it in color, and then I'll take the same image and I'll do it in black and white. I didn't do it, in this particular case, however.
Not this one. Not this one.
But I do like to. So I usually like to do it both ways.
It's too busy on the bottom to be black and white.
Yeah.
You lose the detail.
Now this next shot is more of a landscape / environmental shot. There were no birds. Now this is kind of in the same area where Bob had his photos with the birds flying across, and eventually they did fly across here. But I had already taken the picture without the birds. I just wanted to kind of get an image that showed that area, because this particular place is completely different than where Bob and I usually shoot, and I really, really love this place. It's just unfortunate that it's so buggy, but it's kind of like some of the area was old rice fields back in the day. A lot of other areas had the water level controlled over the years, and still does. So you've got a wide variety of wetlands areas and small ponds and areas that have been intentionally allowed to flood and that type of thing. And I just wanted to capture some of the actual, no wildlife. Just wanted to take something that was maybe a little different than what you're used to seeing me take.
When Bob's birds come in, they buggered up the water anyway on you. So
yeah, well, they were probably all pooping when they flew by too.
Yeah.
Well, that's an image, Jeff.
Now this shot is kind of a minimalistic shot of the remains of some old structures that are in parts of the water, old rice fields and whatnot. You can't really tell, what it might have been, or I can't. I'm not an expert on rice fields, but I just thought it was an interesting photo, and I liked it with the fog. I like taking pictures in the fog because I'm usually I'm usually in fog anyway when I take my pictures, so it kind of works out.
Yeah. Doesn't make difference the fog with fog.
Yeah. This next shot
Yay.
was an ibis, a younger one. It's not all white yet.
Nosy one.
In a pond area. And, I just like this. I mean, you had a little color in the water very early in the morning, kind of a calm type of picture, not with a lot of birds, just the one bird. Then the next one, this I like because I did bring up the shadows a little bit for the foreground, just so it wasn't completely black. Brought that up a little bit, but this is when the sun was just kind of, you have a body of water that you can't see on the left-hand side. You got this little walking path. Eventually I walked where those wood storks are, and then you had water on the right-hand side. And so I liked it because there was just this little shot of light, starting to go across, and some shadows, and you still had the fog. And I thought it made like an interesting.
Yeah, it has a mood.
Yeah, it had a mood to it.
Yeah.
Then this is another minimalist photo. It does have a duck in the water on the right. That looks like it might be like a control gate at one time for water flow. That's just stuff doesn't get knocked down. You know what I mean? Until it falls down, it just stuff just stays there.
The foreground's a bit distracting.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could. I'm not one that tends to what do you call it?
You can take them out in Photoshop.
Rate stuff too much, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, what I don't like, unfortunately, is it would be nice if I didn't have it. I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't stand higher or anything, but having it like coming up
No, but you could clean it up after.
next to the bird, Now,
Photoshop.
one neat thing about this place is, unlike Huntington Beach State Park, where Bob and I go a lot, they cull the gators in Huntington Beach State Park. They start to get too big. All of a sudden, the big gators, one day, they're not there anymore. They're just gone. And all of a sudden there's a big sale at the stores for, alligator wallets and alligator suitcases and stuff. This is an area that, as far as we know, nothing is called. And by evidence of the size of the gators, gators are, Roy should like this. The gators are freaking huge, really, really big. Really, really big. You won't see very many this size where we normally go, and they're neat to see, but you certainly don't want to come upon one by accident. You kind of definitely got to keep your eyes peeled.
You reckon it's more than 10, 12 feet?
Alligators typically don't grow much more. They can grow more than 12 feet. I mean, I've seen some that were maybe around, it could have been maybe 14 feet. But what happens when they get to about 12 feet, instead of growing lengthwise, they get wider.
Yeah.
So they might be like, you'll see some that are like 10 feet, but they're really skinny looking, but they're still 10 feet long. And then when they get near the limit of their normal size that they can get, then all of a sudden they just grow widthwise and they get really wide. And that's when they really start looking like dinosaurs, because, the head is so big. It took a pic, Bob. We had a picture of one. I didn't show. I only showed maybe one or two gator shots maybe here, but there was one that we saw that its hind legs, that back area here was definitely way bigger than my upper thigh. It was scary looking. It was like, Glad did not run into that one.
Well, I
The
tasted gator in Uluru and was tasting like a gator.
yeah, the next couple shots, I got a couple shots here at Huntington Beach State Park with the 800 PF on the Z9. Just a cardinal shot.
Yeah, I love it.
Cardinal shot.
I love it.
And I like it when the sun starts kissing the trees in the forest in the background and throwing a little light at it. And yet trying to not having something shooting up through the bird's head, of course, if you can help it. And then the next shot is from the North Beach, just the man and his dog in the fog, early morning.
Or a dog and his man.
Yeah, dog's walking the man.
Yeah.
And you can see some of the hotels and buildings in the background that you can see them. And then the last shot I took at Brookgreen Gardens, which is where, and this is cropped from the bottom up, and I did that on purpose just for this shot because the emphasis was the fact that it got this little fish in its mouth, along with what looks like almost like pine needles.
Yeah.
And
Like vegetables with their food.
yeah, so I cropped the bottom out a little bit because it was quite a bit busy, and I said for this shot, just showing it, here, I just wanted to focus on the fish and the fact that it has the extra garbage in its mouth with the fish, rather than get distracted by like a log that might have been laying there in the water, like in the foreground or whatever. So, but that's it. That's all I got. And we can go back and look at what everybody did. And once again, my applause to everybody for
Nice collection again.
for what they've sent in for us this week or this month. So I'm going to take a swig of something to drink here, and then we'll kind of fly through the images quickly. Everybody, thanks again, as always. I mean, the variety is the spice of life, as they say, right? And we get enough variety, and everything is really neat. What we get every month. I mean, I wish more people would take the opportunity to to see what everybody takes. And we'll just go through these, wait like 3 or 4 seconds and go to the next shot. If I'm going too fast, let me know, because I don't know how fast it's refreshing for those of you that are watching this on YouTube.
These little characters.
I like this shot. Good black and white's hard to do. There's the birds coming to mess up Jeff's shot.
Yeah. They wanted to, believe me.
Well, they are messing it up now.
Well, I like to get environmental shots too, or landscape shots when I can, especially someplace I don't get to go to very often. And this just happens to be a place that most of us down here that we know of this place, but so many people will just tell you don't go there when it's hot. You don't go there in the summer unless you want to get killed by the bugs. It's just too bad. And believe me, we went to a place one time, couple hour drive out in the boonies. I mean, one of those places like the first hour and a half of the drive seemed kind of normal, and then the last half hour was like, okay, go 2 blocks, take a right, go 2 blocks, take a left, and you're just zigzagging all over the place. And went to this place called Beadwood Forest, and literally there's no parking spaces for cars. There's just like an area where there's dirt, and that's where your car is going to go. And before we got out of the car, as soon as I parked the car, the whole hood of the car, side view mirrors, windshield was all covered with, deer flies.
Wow.
I mean, completely covered. And Bob and I are looking at each other, and we're like, I ain't getting out of this car. and it's like we had to walk. We'd have to get out of the car and turn around and walk into the building. And I'm like, I don't think we'll make it from the car to the building alive. And what we found out, what we did was we sat in the car for like 10 minutes, and once the temperature on the hood of the car started to cool off, they flew off the car.
Wow.
And then we made a run for it, and we got in the building and talked to the people working there and said, you guys put your lives at risk every day you come here to go to work? I mean, it was, but you guys know, all you need is 1 or 2 of those flies that don't want to leave you alone, and that can ruin your whole day. You don't have to have 1,000 of them. All you need is 1 or 2.
And they bite.
They bite and they hurt. They hurt.
When are you going to feed me, Randall?
Yeah.
That's what he thinks all the time.
It must work. He keeps it up.
Yeah, yeah.
He says, I don't want the cheap crap. I want that steak that you're eating for dinner tonight.
He's trying to eat my hamburger tonight just
Yeah.
before the show. So
Yeah, you're going to have to stop buying so much gear so they can afford to feed your dog.
Yeah.
yeah. So 2 years old. Is he a teenager? Well, he's about a year and months.
Yeah,
right?
he's 14.
14, 15 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, got it.
Yeah. He's getting to that point. He's going to want to start dating pretty soon.
Oh boy. And then he wants to drive and
Yeah, and then he wants to drive. Yeah. Next thing you know, they're out of the house.
yeah, well, nowadays they stay in the house and they're not married, so they're still living with the parents at
Yeah.
40 years old.
Mom and dad pays.
Yeah.
Wonderful shots, Terry.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
It's funny down here where I live now. It's like most days we don't have clouds a lot down here, believe it or not. I mean, you get hurricanes and stuff once in a while, but I don't like say I'm going to go out and take pictures during a hurricane. But in terms of weather, I mean, normal, average day to day. I mean, it's like always blue skies. When I get white clouds in the sky or a few gray clouds in the sky, I get very excited because not used to seeing them.
We've been getting clouds when there's aurora. The rest of the time it's clear.
I mean, I love the clouds in this black and white
Yeah.
picture
Yeah.
against the rocks. Yeah. You can even see the little
Wind.
birds. Yeah.
The wind. The wind.
And I think that's adorable.
Yeah. Always sucker for a good dog shot.
Puppies are puppies. That's it.
Yeah. Well, my wife gets mad at me because I call Patches a puppy, even though she's 10 years old, and she says she's not a puppy. She says she's not a puppy anymore. I says she's
Right.
small, she's not big, she's a puppy to me. I call her
Puppy for you.
puppy for me. You know. But I says, don't give the dog a complex. Don't make her feel old. Let her think she's still a puppy. Yeah, they had at the state park there. Well, you guys have heard my stories of woe of how I feel they mismanaged that park horribly. But the pond side, you got the road that cuts through what used to be the marsh. So one side's the marsh and changes with the tides. The other side isn't going to change unless they flow water in from the marsh side to the pond side, which they haven't done in a long time now, and they've pretty much killed off all the majority of fish. Large fish are gone. There's no flounder in there anymore. There's no big mullet in there anymore. And so the gators, I mean, they come from another pond at the other end of the park that's freshwater, and that's where they stay for the winter. And then they cross over a walkway and they go into the pond, which is brackish water. And then they used to actually come up the bank, and still do come up the bank, and they cross the road and they go into the marsh. And people there at the park were saying, well, we got to find out where these guys are going. I says, well, we know where they're going. We'll tell you where they're going. They're going towards the beaches. They're going farther up because they don't have any food in the pond anymore. You make sure they don't have any food. And it's like they didn't want to believe us. So they go and they hire the Department of Natural Resources or whatever comes in, puts trackers on them, big boxes they put on the back of their neck. I mean, they look like transistor radios from the old day. And then they go, oh yeah, you were right. They're up there. They're way up that way up there. After all is said and done, we says, well, we could have saved you whatever you spent for these things, and paid and then irritated the gators by putting a lasso around them and dragging them out to put tags on them, trackers on them. It says, where do you think they're going to go when they don't have any food? Well, just another example of mismanagement and people that shouldn't be in the jobs that they're in. Ongoing battle. Unfortunately, the viewing public and the patrons and the photographers lose out. This guy's probably sizing you up, David, while you're taking the picture.
Oh yeah, the way he looks like it. Come closer, come closer.
Well, there were a dozen others that were close to me, and I think I can run faster than at least half of them.
Good. That's the best thing you can do. Have people there slower than you.
David's like, I'll push the guy with the crutches. Take him.
Yeah, he's not full anyway. It doesn't work all right.
Yeah.
Well, there were kids there too, so.
They're eating fast, like a snacks.
Well, it depends on their age.
Yeah.
But they only might be a lunch, and they need an adult for a dinner,
Jeff's images here of the wildflowers.
That's so nice.
I like the way that leaf wraps around the stem.
So cool. I never knew there was a flower that did that. And then we got the wild and crazy
I wonder if that comes out of your clothes very easily.
I don't know. I mean, it kind of. I mean, if you bought, like I think of like the old big sticks of chalk that kids use, to draw stuff on the roads and the
Yeah.
driveways and stuff like that. If you ground it all up, and it would be like that. I wouldn't want to try to get it off my clothes. I'd say, well, pick out a shirt you don't ever want to see again, or a coat.
Yeah.
That's why the Indians go with just a small, a thin shirt and nothing else.
Yeah.
Not this time of the year with the jackets.
Yeah, the Americans arrested the second missing crew member
This is
in
so
Iran.
good. This is so good.
Oh, they rescued him. Good.
Yep.
Yeah, they have tracking devices on them, so they just have to hide from the locals and then signal, okay, it's ready. Come and pick me up.
It's okay. They will use the same clothes the next year.
Yeah. That's neat, though, to see something like that.
In the exercise routine to warm you up.
Yeah.
He's singing, isn't he?
Yeah, he's singing or providing direction.
Some of those guys are lovely dancers. Almost as good as the women.
Then we got the images that Martin put
Yeah.
together. Martin created.
That's the number one image for this time for me.
Yeah, I like that. I like this one better though.
Yeah, that too, but the other one, I like the other one, the colors.
Yeah, we're getting there, everybody, but we want to go. We always go through these at the end because we know we get people that come in when the show's halfway through or 3/4 of the way through, and then this way you don't necessarily have to watch the show from the beginning again, even though, hey, go ahead and do it, and hopefully give us a like and that you enjoy
And come.
what you saw, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We appreciate the support. But we have our normal group of folks that are kind enough to join us and take time off of their busy schedule to come and share with us. So that makes it worthwhile, Then we got
This would make good wallpaper, Jeff.
Yeah, I tell you, it would be. I mean, if I was someone that was notable, which I am not, obviously, which is okay with me. I like no one to know who I am. But anyway, I would love to just have a real have so many of these pictures that we've all shared over quite a period of time. I can't even remember when we started this thing years ago, basically. But it would be cool if we had those things and had like this huge slideshow that we could show in a building or something that people could just walk in and just watch and look at all these pictures that have been shared over the years. Because I'm sure
Good night, Kubarachi.
people would be blown away. People would be blown away.
See you Thursday morning, Paul. He's going to join us, Terry.
Take care, Paul. Thanks a lot. Wonderful job. We're hitting your pictures again right now as we go.
Are you from Africa?
Nemo.
we find Nemo at last.
Yeah, all these drop-offs is where, I mean, my time diving is where you would see, I tell you, I had the joys. Probably the most exciting thing in my lifetime as a diver was having a manta ray put on an aerial show in front of me at about 130 feet down, and doing flips and flying over my head and what seemed like flying over my head. Absolutely nothing like that feeling from that event. And if you're lucky enough to get into scuba diving or live in a place where, or have the ability to go to places where, you know, you could see, being a New England diver, a good visibility on a New England dive was maybe 8 feet or 10 feet. Many times it was only 2 feet. And it wasn't because what a lot of people would say, oh, because your water's dirty in New England. No, it has nothing to do with dirt. It has to do with plankton and aquatic life and silt, that type of thing.
Do you ever see how the animals live in Africa?
You
The
know,
waters there? How dirty they are? It's not a
Yeah.
dirty.
I mean, yeah, but like lots of, I remember, I think my first, they called it your underwater dive when you got certified for scuba diving. We were in Jamestown, Rhode Island, in a cove. We had two coves, one next to each other, and we go in one cove, and we would do the classes in that cove. And we happened to be there one time when we had baby squid. We had squid eggs and baby squid coming out of their eggs, basically. And that being the first thing that you see when you first took up scuba diving, you get to see these little squid popping out and all around you and swimming near you.
Thousands around.
You're hooked. That was it. I was hooked, and that's all I could say. You just see something like that, and you're like,
like he looks at you, isn't it?
it's just wonderful. Diving is such a great thing to do. It's just sad that if you did it, if you did it 30 years ago and you did it today, and you see the difference of what things are like, it's heartbreaking. Well, just like Terry with your shot there of the glacier, as the glaciers are melting and disappearing. I mean, you remember when it didn't look like that, and it gets to you because you remember how beautiful things were 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever, and now they're going away,
Well, they lose 20 or 30 meters of ice every year.
And that's everything. So now we got the crew. This is our version. This is our version of Mission Control.
Yeah.
This is our version of Mission Control.
Mission without a clue.
Different.
Okay, you can fly now.
We they can fly now. Different backgrounds and from all over. We represent people from all over the world, do we not? All over the country, all over the world.
So we have
different places.
So we typically have 15 or 16. So we have 16 photographers, 15 photographers this time, which is good. So, but we want to have more people contributing. So please do.
Yeah, but once a month, guys, it is a bit difficult for people to follow. You know,
Yeah.
they're forgetting.
But we're doing well. We're doing well. By the way, you were talking about this April is that we have been doing the general meeting already for a year. We can say whatever about the group here, but we are consistent. So
Yeah.
Yes, we're either consistently good, consistently bad, consistently boring, consistently exciting. I don't know which. Depends on what side of the bed we wake up on. um, we're past our normal viewing time here, and there really wasn't a lot of. I'll just touch on a couple other rumor things here, and then let Gustavo talk about upcoming stuff. Unless he did that while I took my dog out to go to the, do
I
his
haven't
thing.
done that yet.
There wasn't much with Fuji rumors. It's interesting. I guess the new Fujifilm X half frame camera that they came out with not too long ago has a permanent price reduction, apparently of $200 less. So it's now $649. They did put out new firmware updates for the GFX 100 RF camera, medium format camera, version 1.12 that fixes a firmware bug. The eye sensor fails to activate in rare cases when you're viewing through the EVF when you're in preview mode. So that was something they got fixed. So then on Canon rumors, they have some interesting articles. I mean, it's kind of hard to pick out. The articles can be pretty lengthy and heavy in discussion, and it's kind of hard sometimes to just pick out little things from them to share with everybody. But they had, Canon's gotten a lot of criticism from people that own Canons complaining that, you don't have third-party lenses for the full frame RF lenses. And Canon has always, basically said that, obviously they want to sell their own lenses. They want people to buy their lenses. And that's become a point of contention with people that might want to get into the Canon side of things and switch brands, or people that are already Canon users that are upset that they can't get more affordable or different glass for the RF lens platform for full frame cameras. So there was an article on Canon rumors that talking about that, and in a nutshell, they seemed like they said Canon does. They claim Canon doesn't encourage or supply info to other third-party manufacturers to make the full-frame RF mount lenses. But if they were asked by a third-party manufacturer, they wouldn't necessarily say that they couldn't. But the thing is, the RF mount is apparently extremely complicated to reproduce, and probably has a lot of extra pins on it and stuff that right now aren't being used for things that are there for future use. And so I think what it is Canon's kind of saying, well, we won't say no if you ask us, but we're not going to help you, and we're not going to go to bed with you and help support you. If you want to reverse engineer it and figure it out and come out with something that people want to buy, then
They do it, they will shoot it.
Then you do. But the problem is these third-party manufacturers, I think it's a huge investment for them to reverse engineering this particular mount. And so they're not.
Don't forget, Canon probably saw that the industry shrinks. The numbers of photographers shrinks.
Right.
Well, they said, how many years we have, we got to suck as much money we need. We have. That's their corporation. They don't care for the other companies.
No, they make their money off their.
You pay for Canon.
They make.
You want a Rolls Royce, you go and buy a Rolls Royce. Simple as that. You want a Mercedes, you buy Mercedes. You want a Canon, you buy a Canon.
But it's interesting is that Canon is talking to Red, because Red uses the RF mount too. So they got to be tied in there. or else Red will say,
But they
Just
have their
like
own.
Canon.
They have their own video cameras, man.
yes, Canon does, but Red, it is for the longest time they only had the RF mount was one of the main mounts. Now they've got
Use
Red
their
too.
own lenses, yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
eventually, I can see Red getting rid of the RF, but not for a while.
No,
and
that will be encouraged by Canon because they sell their lenses. Simple as that.
Canon
Then,
doesn't have any. They're not interested in getting into agreements where you get a stipend or you get a payment from somebody that's using your mount or anything like that. They have no interest in doing that, getting royalties from their use of their mount. So that's their approach. And like you said, these camera companies make most of their money on lenses. And like you said, if you're always giving away the farm, eventually people maybe decide that, gee, I don't want to spend $3,000 for this from you, and I'll get something that's not quite as good, but probably good enough. I'll get it for $800.
And don't forget that we're not many people hide behind our finger right now. There are not many people changing systems.
No.
To change system, you need a lot of money.
Yeah.
There are not many people to do that. That means the company knows when they hook you. If you are Sony, Nikon, Canon, Fuji, whatever, the moment they hook you there, they will keep you there. Simple as that. And they will sell whatever they want to sell. Canon have this strategy. You like it, fair enough. You don't like it, spend your money and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Simple. That's how it works. Corporations. Nikon likes that. So look, we'll do this. We're working with these people. We don't work with the other ones. We'll work with this one. Doesn't matter. The point is, the Sony start and open everybody because they were smart. They didn't have
I don't want to give them too much credit. They had no choice.
They didn't have any lenses.
They had no lenses. They had no choice.
And they gained a huge follow. And now they're turning the other way around. You want a bit better lens? You have to buy ours. Which you do this and do that. The other one doesn't do it. Well, again, the people have to choose.
Yeah. Now, Canon is saying they're going to keep popping out 6 to 8 lenses, RF lenses a year. So we'll see, if they do that. That's what they're claiming. And the only other thing was they're saying there were other articles in there. Canon looking at new RFS prime lenses, which are the RF mount for APS-C bodies, is the RFS lenses. And one of those lenses they're talking about is a 10 millimeter f2.8 lens and a 300 to 600. So there's also rumored specs on there in the Canon rumor site for the upcoming R7 Mark II that is supposedly going to be announced in late May or early June. So if you want to, just see what the rumored specs are, and we know how rumored specs are anyway. But if you have an interest in the Canon lineup and want to get an R7 Mark II, tease yourself a little bit and look at that article and get an idea of what they're thinking they're going to have in that camera if you wish to. And that's all I have. So
nothing from Sony. This 7.5.
No, Sony. When I went in there and was looking, the guy that runs that said, "Oh, I'm working on a bunch of stuff and I might put it out on such and such a day." And I didn't have a chance to go back and see if he did come out with any new information on anything, but so I didn't really have anything on Sony.
The 7.5 is out now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, the 7.5 is out. Yeah, they got a bunch of videos on that they share on their channel that people have done on YouTube on the camera already. So there is a lot of information out there and full specs, of course, because it's out. It's out there.
Yeah, it's $4,000. The body.
Yeah. But nothing's cheap, and nothing much is going to get cheaper anytime soon.
Oh yeah. Forget about chipping out.
Yeah. So what do you have for us, Gustavo?
All right. So let me put it this way. And so this is what we have upcoming, and we have some uh, changes from the last time we got together a couple of weeks ago. So this is our calendar. So our next general meeting and special presentation will be on Saturday, April the 18th. And that one, which we did some changes, so it's to be determined. Uh, I have put incorrectly Robert Rosado here for that one, but he have been, as was mentioned before, he have been busy with his team of that he's sponsoring on robotics. So it will be too soon to do that one. So we will wait for Bob to have a presentation ready. So we're going to have a general meeting. If anybody have a presentation I want to make, or anybody wants to bring some images for that show, that would be welcome. I'm sure that we will have a full show as usual. I will certainly bring some images of my own for that general meeting. So that's 2 weeks from now. Then after that will be the image review on May the 2nd. And after that, the general meeting will be on Anita's presentation about travel photography by the area of Portugal, which that presentation is almost ready. It will be wonderful. So May is already we have, and then we have the image review in June, and we still need to confirm this, but the next one in the schedule will be then Bob Rosado and about astrophotography series light painting. Right? So that's the calendar that we have, and then here just a reminder for the travel photography of Madeira, Portugal by Anita. Wonderful thumbnail that we already have for that. And she has a beautiful presentation already put together. So looking forward to have Anita making that presentation. And of course, as usual, on the May image review, as we have seen, today we have 95 photos. So indeed, if you have some good photos already, keep sending it to Jeff so that he get a full complement of photos and have another wonderful image review. Right, that will be on Saturday, May the 2nd. Continue sending your photos to Jeff. He made a comment. The format that we used to do was JPEG 2048 pixels on the long end, which typically is good resolution, but sometimes if you attach the image on the email services will downgrade the quality even below this resolution. You can send a higher uh, uh, megapixel image to Jeff. Obviously, anything that looks good in your computer should look well when you get display. Right? So preferably send the images before the show on so our typical deadline will be the Friday before. That will be Friday, May the 1st, and do include some text in with your images. So that's what I have, Jeff.
All righty. So I thank you for everybody on the panel that's one that's still here, and those that were here earlier and had to leave. And Roy's back now. Technical issues are finally resolved at
I've
the
been back
very
a
end.
long
At the
time.
very end, and Chuck has his flight booked to go to Australia to help you out, from what I heard.
He's welcome.
And so thank everybody on the panel as always. I can't thank everybody enough because hey, your time is worth as much as anybody else's, and you choose to spend it with an old bald guy and help out, and it's greatly appreciated. Always will be. And so thank you for everyone who comes in the chat and
We
creates
think
side
you
side
put all the
discussion,
time.
gets people going, and you share your images with us too. And hey, it doesn't get much better than this. And let's just hope that we can get some new people to stop in sometime and surprise us with some of their stuff.
But always good to see some friends. So fantastic. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Have a good evening.
night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, everybody. See you in 2 weeks.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Go look for those eggs in the morning. Take care.
See ya.